the science of life. The aim of this practice is to globally educate people on how to prevent illness, eliminate illness, and protect the well-being of our physical and metaphysical selves. Likewise, Ayurveda Day serves the purpose of protecting and preserving the science of Ayurvedic medicine so that practitioners, professionals, and the future of Ayurveda, like the SCU Ayurveda Club, can maintain its integrity. Our club strives daily to bring light to these significant values in hopes that one day Ayurveda will successfully integrate with each standing health modality as the tried and true science of life. As the #1 Ayurveda program in the US, we strongly believe that our members play the most important role in the future growth and expansion of Ayurveda. We believe in a civilization of community and a philosophy which embodies nourishing the power within our unique selves to heal and grow. And we strive to teach others how to do the same. Thank you so much for joining us for a phenomenal panel of speakers, special guests, and beings who share our same values. Today, our team is excited to share with you a series of curated events that is sure to encourage lightness over darkness in our very special homage to Diwali. Also, throughout the evening, we will have several raffle drawings from some amazing prizes from Athreya Herbs, Banyan Botanicals, and gift cards sponsored by our very own SCU Associated Student Body, which will include $100 to Target, $100 to Amazon, $100 to DoorDash, and a grand prize winner for $200 to Exotic India Art. If you haven't already, please check your inboxes for the email that you RSVP'd with for your raffle ticket number. Thank you for allowing Ayurveda into your hearts and homes. And as the night progresses, keep an open mind so that it may expand with the nectar of Ayurveda. I'd like to now pass the mic to a fellow classmate and member of the SCU Ayurveda Club, Parija Patel. Take us away.
Thank you, Mila. Welcome, everyone. My name is Parija. I am in the Educators Program at SCU. I'm happy to introduce Elena, also a student in the Educators Program. She'll be chanting the Dhanvantri prayer for us to get us started with the program. Elena, please go ahead.
Namami Dhanvantarim Adidevam Sura Surair Vandita Pada Padmam Loke Chararupayam Rityunasham Dataramisham Vividhau Shathina Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhinu Bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
That was beautiful. I would like to introduce Dr. Anu as she is our director of our program. Vaidya Anu is an Ayurvedic practitioner, licensed acupuncturist, yoga teacher, and professor and program director of Ayurvedic medicine at Southern California University of Health Sciences. Her many contributions to the field of complementary and alternative medicine include extensive travel to propagate Ayurveda worldwide, numerous research presentations at national and international conferences, frequent publication in various peer-reviewed research journals, and regular participation as a peer reviewer at conferences as well as journals. She currently serves on the research working group of the Academic Collaborative for Integrative Health and is co-principal investigator for an NIH-founded research study. She has received a number of awards for her work on Ayurveda and complementary and alternative medicine. In 2020, she received the Sikh Zayed International Award for Ayurveda for her contribution on Ayurveda. She was also invited to attend WHO's International Expert Consulting Meeting in 2019. As an advocate for the Ayurvedic profession and the advancement of its goals, Vaidya Anu serves on the boards of the California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine and the National Ayurvedic Medical Association, NAMA. Vaidya Anu has been actively participating in American Public Health Association's Integrative, Complementary, and Traditional Health Practices section since 2007. Everyone, without further ado, here is Vaidya Anu.
Thank you, Mila. Thank you very much. Namaste, everyone. So happy to see all of you here. You know, we have our alumni. Almost all the students are here. It's really, really happy to see everyone. And the prayer was really touching. Elena learning Sanskrit and another language and chanting. You made my day for today. Thank you so much. So I welcome you all to SCU Ayurveda Day celebration. As most of you know, that more than 75 nations are coming together on this auspicious day occasion to bring awareness of Ayurveda worldwide. It brings immense happiness in my heart to see overwhelming response from the people in recognizing Ayurveda for their health and well-being. This change may lead to a revolution in a healthcare where people are empowered to take care for their own health as the great vision of our Ayurveda Acharya. That's what Ayurveda all about, right? It's a science of life. As we celebrate, the objective of this Ayurveda Day celebration also is to protect, preserve, and promote the knowledge of Ayurveda. Adoption of institution-based Ayurvedic training in modern time happened in the 19th century. In 1827, training in Ayurvedic medicine began at the Government Sanskrit College in India. So we can see that Ayurvedic education at the institutional level started 197 years back. So we have a long history. We say that it's a 5,000 years old science, but the institution-wise, the university-wise education started almost 197 years back. We at SCU proud in providing traditional Ayurvedic education as an accredited university in the US. And we are part of creating a history for Ayurvedic education and Ayurvedic practice in US. So first cohort in Ayurveda program at SCU started in the year of 2009. And we started this journey with the 12 students. In year 2020, we have about 195 students. Since last 3 years, SCU is ranked #1 program for Ayurvedic educational by university.com. I'm fortunate to have my excellent team of faculty and great administrative support. On this occasion, I wanted to express my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to my entire SCU team. Currently, we offer, Ayurvedic wellness educator program and Ayurvedic practitioner program, additional clinical internship for the practitioners, Ayurvedic practitioners, and Sanskrit level 1 and Ashtanga Hridaya part 1 programs at SCU. On this special occasion, we have one more special news actually for our Ayurveda community. I would like to take a privilege to announce our Ayurvedic program advisory team. With the grace of Dhanvantari, we have world-renowned scholars and educators in the field of Ayurveda in our advisory team. They will be addressing our community today. And I wanted to just mention the name, Dr. David Frawley is a founder and director of American Vedic Studies, Padma Bhushan recipient, and Dr. Robert Svoboda, world-renowned Ayurvedic practitioner, wrote so many books in Ayurveda, and Dr. Anup Thakar, Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University, Dr. Geetha Krishnan, Technical Officer of Traditional and Integrative Medicine. You can see that we have really strong team for Ayurvedic in our advisory team. So we are extremely proud to have this team with us for guiding us in our future journey. And I also want to thank, without my student, where am I, right? So I really want to thank all my students and alumni for their love and commitment that has nurtured the SCU Ayurvedic program. Their support was instrumental in making this SCU Ayurvedic program robust. Congratulations to SCU Ayurvedic Club. You might have spent so many hours to make this event happen under the leadership of Mila. So special congratulations for whole club officials. Really appreciate your commitment and passion and making this event happen. Not only this event, I know you guys organize so many events. And at US, the Ayurveda, SCU Ayurveda Club stand really strong. So let's hold our hands together for the growth of Ayurveda and spreading this knowledge of life. Thank you very much. Namaste. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like to introduce Dr. Egan. Dr. Jonathan Egan, Assistant Provost, Academic Administrative at SCU. Prior to this role, he served as a Dean of Los Angeles College of Chiropractic and Chief of Staff at NYCC Campus Health Center. Dr. Egan is a proponent of integrative healthcare and of the role of complementary and integrative health practitioners in public health. His interest in integrative health brought him to SCU and is what excites him about the future here. Dr. Egan was one of the first chiropractors to work at VA, providing care to veterans from 2006 to 2012. While there, he participated in the chronic low back pain research study, which is funded at more than $1.6 million. And currently, he's a member of Integrative, Complementary and Traditional Health Practice section at APHA, and also he's also active in the American Public Health Association Chiropractic Healthcare section as well. His most recent publication is a co-author of a chapter on chiropractic in a textbook for spinal surgeon. Dr. Egan participated as a faculty in the interdisciplinary and groundbreaking primary spine provider certificate program. At SCU, Dr. Egan is honored to work directly with the Dean and Program Director of Ayurveda program, as well as the Chiropractic, Acupuncture and Massage Therapy program. Let's welcome Dr. Egan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nu, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mila. Thank you to the Ayurveda program and the Ayurveda Club for the honor of speaking with you today as we celebrate Ayurveda and join in festivities and special recognition all around the world. Students and friends, faculty and staff, administrators and colleagues, invited guests with us today, everyone. It is hard and hopeful to be an integrative healthcare practitioner in a sick and divided world. It is hard and hopeful to be a healer. Both the challenge and the hope are deeply felt. It's hard to be a practitioner who believes that health cannot be achieved without wholeness in body, mind, and spirit in a reductionist world that barely comprehends the body as a cohesive whole, let alone the mind or spirit. It is hard to be a practitioner who believes in the importance of integrity in its truest sense in a world that instead divides by rich and poor, left and right, have and have not, but also body from mind, mind from spirit, spirit from body. All of these divisions at a time when a virus now finds the most vulnerable and exploits our divisions and finds the cracks and fissures in society and exposes them to leave our most marginalized in harm's way. It's hard to see an expensive and costly focus, costly in terms of dollars and human suffering, but a costly focus on fixing instead of preventing, patching instead of guiding, heroic intervention instead of tending. As has been said, human beings are whole systems like gardens that need constant tending. not only occasional desperate measures. Where the conservative and natural would have prevented or generated or healed and even yielded bounty, these are so often overlooked and neglected, waiting instead for individual and community suffering to befall before intervening. It is hard to be an integrative healthcare practitioner and see wholeness, systemic integrity, and natural conservatism overlooked or ignored. It's hard to know that what you had to offer as a healer is not appreciated or used or understood when it could have made such a difference. But it's also hopeful. To choose to be an integrative healthcare practitioner, in this case, to take the study and practice of Ayurveda as your calling and profession, is to choose to be hopeful in a challenging world. It's choosing wholeness in a time of division. It's choosing life in a time of sickness. It's choosing to follow the proverbial path less taken. In choosing Ayurveda, you're choosing to learn how to help a world that has forgotten how to be united within and without, to be whole, to be true to self and true to nature, to remember who it really is. I am thankful for you and for the paths you've chosen. And I celebrate that with you today on Ayurveda Day. I celebrate the path of wholeness and the triumph of life. With the growth of the Ayurveda program at SCU and the gradual growth of awareness of Ayurveda in the United States and around the world, there's hope, isn't there? There's always hope. The future healthcare teams will include not only biomedicine, but through our influence, learn to attend to whole health, body, mind, and spirit. When I first met Dr. Anu, I was struck by her kindness, her compassion, her dedication, her competence. Doesn't she just exhibit grace and ability in all that she does? I met her 10 to 15 years ago through the American Public Health Association, and her positivity and optimism and determination are just the antidote. It's just what we all need right now. Who better to lead a program so focused on wholeness and peace within and without and living right with the world? Indeed, the science of life. Thank you, Dr. Anu, for your leadership with the Ayurveda program here at SCU. And of course, it's now my honor and pleasure to introduce to you SCU's president and CEO, Dr. John Scaringe. John Scaringe was appointed president for the Southern California University of Health Sciences in May 2010 after serving as interim president. He began his career at Los Angeles College of Chiropractic as faculty in 1991 and held several academic administrative positions at SCU before becoming president. He's a published author and has served as the associate editor for the Journal of Sports Chiropractic and Rehabilitation and on the editorial advisory board of Manual Therapy. In addition to private practice and over 30 years of teaching experience, Dr. Scaringe has developed a reputation in change management and is a frequent lecturer on academic leadership and trends in healthcare education. Dr. Scaringe has extensive experience in higher education accreditation, serving on and chairing numerous regional and professional evaluation teams, and he currently serves as a commissioner for the Northwest Commission for Colleges and Universities. President Scaringe holds a Doctor of Chiropractic degree from New York Chiropractic College, also my alma mater, a Master's of Science in Kinesiology from Cal State Fullerton, and an EDD in Educational Leadership from Cal State Long Beach. And last, on a personal note about Dr. Scaringe, I've known him for over 4 years now, but I've known of him for far longer. He's been a leader in integrative healthcare for many years. I first learned of him in 2009 or 2010 when I was part of a national effort to help chiropractic students engage in public health. Dr. Scaringe helped at the time by buying memberships for his students in the American Public Health Association, one of the first universities in the United States to do so for students of any profession, to my knowledge. Dr. Scaringe also took the visionary step of bringing mainstream Western healthcare training through the PA program to a university that had previously only taught complementary and alternative health. And this incredibly bold move is part of what first attracted me to SCU. Dr. Scaringe has, of course, supported this, the finest Ayurveda program in the country. He's an advocate for healthcare teams, for collaborative care, and I'm honored to consider him a friend and colleague, as well as my leader here at SCU, as we all pursue the transformation of health and healthcare education together. So, friends and guests, please join with me in welcoming SCU's president, Dr. John Scaringe.
Wow, thank you. An introduction my mom would be very proud of. Thanks. Listen, on behalf of the SCU Board of Regents, the faculty, staff, and most importantly, our students, I would like to thank you all and welcome you here on this very exciting Ayurveda Day. Ooh, all of a sudden I got big on my screen, scared me. First, I would like to say how honored and humbled we are to have such distinguished members of the Ayurvedic community joining our advisory board. Really, from the bottom of our heart, thank you. And how cool is this? We are honored to be part of a global awareness to be included with 75 countries celebrating the art and science of Ayurveda. We are proud of our Ayurveda program. From Dr. Anu and her stature internationally, our excellent faculty, supportive staff, and the brightest and passionate students in Ayurvedic medicine. I do have this picture, let me see, picture in the back here of one of our early classes. And you can see that poor Dr. Prasad was over to the other side, over on this side, he didn't make the photo. But you see some students that have actually become faculty members that are, in this picture. And I always use this picture in many of my presentations about who SCU is. And it's one of my favorite because it's just so colorful. And my regalia goes really nice with everybody else's beautiful colors here. So it's an honor to serve as the president. I was first introduced to this wonderful healing art in the late 90s when a proposal to include an Ayurvedic practitioner was brought to my attention in my role at the time as director of the campus health center. And at the time, we had just added the acupuncture and Chinese medicine program and practitioners to our health service line after 90 years of chiropractic education and patient care at that time. So Ayurveda was one of the first services that we provided in the center since in adding from chiropractic with the acupuncture around that same time. And over the years, I had developed a deep appreciation for the lifestyle. Never did I imagine the program growth we have achieved under Dr. Anu's leadership. And there's so much more we can do to educate caring, competent, and passionate Ayurvedic practitioners. I envision an Ayurveda concentration in our current bachelor's degree program and eventually leading to a master's and beyond. So we're really excited and proud of our program. And we're humbled and we're going to continue to improve an already excellent program. In closing, I would like to thank everyone involved for organizing this event, especially the Ayurveda Club, our speakers, the participants for their support, but most importantly, the entire Ayurveda community around the world for your impact in health and well-being of the communities and the people we serve. So good luck for a successful event. I'll hang around and enjoy the speakers and some of the festivities. And I thank you so much for inviting me for a brief introduction and thanks to all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Scaringe. Thanks for all of your support for the Ayurvedic program. It means a lot for us, for our program. Thank you. So the next speaker for today is Dr. Anup Thakar. He's the Vice Chancellor of Institute of Postgraduate Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, Gujarat University. He's also a director for Institute for Postgraduate Teaching and head of the Department for Panchakarma, IPGT and RA. He also served as a program director for International Center for Ayurvedic Studies and Senate and syndicate board member of Gujarat Ayurveda University. He has more than 20 years of experience in PG teaching and research. He has guided more than 30 plus PhD Ayurvedic scholars. He's involved in various WHO initiated projects. He has led like Ayurveda Herbal Formulation Project, recruitment of Rule of Ayurveda Personnel, so just to name a few. He also received many awards for his contribution in the field of Ayurveda. Let's welcome Dr. Anup Thakar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anupama.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anu. So some of the students may be not knowing what exactly the Rasayana Kudira is. So in Ayurveda, there is information about how to rejuvenate the body, how to have a healthy life and also reduce your aging process. But slowly that information, not many people were practicing, but recently there is kind of a revolution and many people are interested to create this specific building. And that's where we have it in Gujarat. It's a 3-layer building they have created only for this therapy. And the people who go inside that building won't come out. So 1.5 months, as Dr. Anup mentioned, you'll stay inside that building, taking some specific Rasayana herbs. So this is really good, actually. And I can see it in the message, many of you saying that you want to take it, do it. But it's all about your control over the mind. Can you stay without your telephone, without the email, without seeing your family, without talking to many people, or only the person you will be talking is Ayurvedic Vaidya and the attendees. So you have to stay inside that building like 1.5 months. And before you enter into the building, there is a X amount of time, you have to go through the specific detoxification therapy to cleanse the body, to remove the imbalanced toxins from the body. So, and then once you cleanse the body, and then you enter into the building and then take specific herbs. And then that's what the changes he was mentioning. But you will be studying, some of the first year student, you will be studying that in a Rasayana class. So I just thought of sharing that. So I thank you, Dr. Anup, for the information. Really appreciate your time. I know you are extremely busy with the Prime Minister meeting and everything, but you still made time to come and talk to us. And really appreciate your support. And I'm really looking forward, actually, our all SCU team looking forward to you as an advisory team for us and giving us some direction for moving forward. So thank you very much and namaste for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Anupama, and I'm very sorry for my connectivity issues and all that things, but definitely I would like to join some other time with all you people. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. We will plan some other talks after this. Definitely we'll do that. Thank you. Thank you. So next speaker, just want to make sure, Dr. Robert Svoboda, he's not here yet. He texted me, he'll be joining soon. Dr. Svoboda, are you here? No. Okay. So we have some fun time. So maybe if you want, let's stand up and move the body now. Okay. So Dr. Robert Svoboda is the first Westerner ever to graduate from a college of Ayurveda and be licensed to practice in Ayurveda in India. So during and after his formal Ayurvedic training, he was tutored again in Ayurvedic medicine, yoga, Jyotish, Tantra, and other form of classical Indian lore by his mentor, Agori Vimalananda. He's the author of so many books. He's author of so many books, or more than 30 plus books he has written, and also served as adjunct faculty at the Ayurvedic Institute in Albuquerque and Bastyr University in Washington. And he has traveled extensively in different countries to propagate the Ayurveda. He is served in a different committee which serves in for Ayurvedic education, to development of Ayurvedic education and clinical practice. So we are extremely proud to have Dr. Robert Svoboda in our team. Let's welcome Dr. Robert Svoboda. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you very much. Let me just say that, in fact, I have written more like 12 books instead of 30, but thank you for inflating that number on my behalf.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Always nice to be inflated somewhat. And thank you. It's very nice to be here on the with everyone on the auspicious day of Ayurveda Day. you may notice that it is kind of dark where I am because I am in the central time zone, and therefore it is a lot darker than it is in the Pacific time zone. So hello to everybody from Texas. And my topic today is studying Ayurveda as a foreigner. And so I'd like to, you know, that's very much what I did. And I moved, I went to India first in 1973 when I was 20 years old. I started the college in early 1974 when I was still 20 years old. And so that just living in a foreign country was a giant education for me. I had done some traveling before, but to actually be in one place and learn not just one language, but more than one language and so on, it was extremely educational. And I learned quite a bit, not only about Ayurveda, but about Indian culture and about learning itself, because in my opinion, and I think it's fair to say in the opinion of many people, all of the different vidyas, all of the different forms of knowledge that have emerged from India, particularly during the classical period, which went on from roughly 3,000 years ago to, I don't know, 1,000 years ago, something like that. All of these are languages. Ayurveda is a language. Music is a language. Divination is a language. Alchemy, tantra, all of these are languages. They all use the Sanskrit language, but they are all models of they're models that we humans use to describe reality. I have always been interested in modern science, and I'm particularly interested nowadays because there's an increasing awareness of just how the degree to which what we experience as human beings is being generated by ourselves as a model, as a representation. We as humans don't, it would not be useful for us to actually perceive what's going on in the world outside. We don't perceive everything that's going on outside. We sample what's going on outside. We sample a certain range of the electromagnetic spectrum with our ears and another range much further away with our eyes. But we're just sampling teeny tiny parts of the spectrum. And we're getting information that we use to try to interact with the world. And so far, we've been doing a generally good job of that. When you are interacting with a body of knowledge like Ayurveda that comes from a culture that you were not born into, you're doing something similar. You're sampling something that has been created in a certain culture. It has it has a context to it that is very much part of that culture. And because you did not grow up in that, and even if you had grown up in that culture, especially in a culture of like India, which is extremely complex, you would not be, you won't have all of the context that someone who is a native of that area would have. And even natives don't have the entire context because there's great complexity in that context. So this is also the case when you're trying to work with someone as a health professional, as a physician. You don't have that entire individual's context. You don't know everything about that person. You have to sample, which is what diagnosis is about. You take some information from that person, and then on the basis of that information, you try to you try to create for yourself an image of what that individual, where that individual is, and where that individual might be able to go, how that person might be able to get from this condition to this condition. So it is very much a matter of sampling, and that's why for me the most important concept that I think anyone needs to know as a human being, but especially if you're trying to understand a subject that is from a culture that's foreign to you, is the concept that is most effectively expressed in the Sanskrit word darshana. Darshana means many things, as most Sanskrit words do, but it particularly means sight. It also means philosophy. So it is very much the case with human beings that what we sample, what we take out of our environment, and this is a giant way in which human beings are different from other vertebrates, other animals, and very much how neuronormal people are different from people on the spectrum of autism. The humans have evolved to be able to select information from the environment and not pay attention to everything all the time. What happens to autistic people is that they lack that filter and they are frequently overwhelmed by things from the outside. So the good thing is you can select things from your environment. The bad thing is often by selecting certain things from your environment, you ignore other things that may be even more topical, even more germane to what you're trying to do or trying to understand. So darshana means your perspective on things, what you see. So as a foreigner, when you're studying Ayurveda, you will see certain things, and the things that you see will be based on the way that you normally see things. If you normally see things from a certain perspective, it will be characteristic of you to see everything from that perspective. So you will look at Ayurveda from that perspective also. So in my experience, I have had the longest amount of time that I've spent in a foreign country has been in India, which is a total of, I calculate, about 20 years so far, almost a third of my life. But I've spent a lot of time in other countries also, lecturing a lot about Ayurveda, and got a chance to see how people in other cultures work and how they're different from the culture I grew up in and the culture that I spent a lot of time in, of India, but also how those different people in different cultures also look at Ayurveda from a different perspective. And I think the thing that the most fundamental thing that I picked up as a result of all that is that there is tremendous value in being able to see things from a perspective that is different from the one that you normally look at it in. And I think that that's why it's so fortunate to be able to study and learn other languages. Now, I was very fortunate. As a result, I've been fortunate in so many things for which I thank Providence. I was very fortunate to live in India so that I could study Sanskrit in the context of people speaking and hearing Sanskrit at the college all day long. And I was able to pick up Hindi as well and understand a little Marathi and Gujarati. And all of those languages have benefited me greatly from the perspective of being able to think about Ayurveda from a perspective that is more close to the perspective of the great acharyas who wrote the texts, because I have been able to study a lot more of that language that the texts were written in, because every language, Ayurveda is a language, but every actual human language makes you think in a slightly different way. And Sanskrit is a particularly useful language because it is an engineered language, Samaskrita. It has been well created. And the way that it is put together is a very different way than most modern languages are. So that facilitated me to be able to see things from a different perspective. Studying Sanskrit, when you're not in the in a place where you're hearing a lot of Sanskrit words every day, of course, is much more difficult. It's always easier to study any language when there is immersion in the language. So that is going to be a challenge for anyone who's studying Ayurveda outside of India or Nepal or Sri Lanka or someplace where you can be immersed in the language. So, in order to take to compensate for that challenge, I think it is very valuable to spend at least a certain amount of time familiarizing yourself with aspects, and that it doesn't mean that you need to necessarily try to study Sanskrit grammar, which is a very difficult thing to do, and I never studied perfectly. And you don't need to know it because Ayurvedic texts are not particularly grammatically complex. But it is very useful to expose yourself to other aspects of the culture, so that you can get a little bit of extra perspective of how Ayurveda was generated, where it came from, and what it's doing there. So that yes, it doesn't have anything directly to do with medicine per se, but really, honestly, anything that has to do with human beings and understanding them better has everything to do with medicine, because if you really want to do something useful with human beings, you have to understand them. And most human beings don't understand themselves. So it's very much going to be your job to try to assist them to understand themselves better, for which purpose you have to try to at least understand them to some degree. So it was extremely, there were great challenges naturally living in the India of the 1970s. But it was there was great advantage to me because of not only being in a place where I could be exposed to the literal languages, but also in a place where people employ these concepts in their daily life, even the ones who don't really know anything about Ayurveda. So people will talk about the Indian lime having a cold effect. So that means it's Shita Viryatmaka in Sanskrit, but most people in India don't know Sanskrit. They will just say that it has a cooling effect, and you should not take it certain times of the, like at night. You should not be taking it in the winter. You should not take it when the environment is cold, because that will needlessly cause your inside environment to become cold, and that will encourage you to become unwell. So this is not at all sophisticated Ayurvedic thinking, but it is a way of thinking that is based in Ayurveda and has spread through the environment of the culture, and that people automatically use. And they think, they understand that hot, spicy food and sour things and so on, these are all hot things. And if you eat things that are too hot, especially in a hot season, and especially if you live in a hot environment, then you should expect that you're going to have some kind of disease that's due to heat. So this is another aspect of Ayurveda that I think that's very important to understand. Yes, it has been very much formalized. There's all kinds of theories and things like that, but do recall that the Sanskrit word for a theory is a siddhanta, and siddha means accomplished, and anta means end. That means when you've had plenty of experience, you've had lots of you've experimented a lot of times, and you've communicated with other people who have experimented, and you've paid attention to experiments that have been done for the past several centuries, then you have an understanding of how human beings in certain time periods, in certain climates, in certain environments will behave when they are exposed to certain stimuli. And I think that one of the chief, maybe the chief concept about Ayurveda that was most useful for me when I was studying, maybe the most, not challenging, but the most transformative concept when I was trying to understand things about Ayurveda from an Ayurvedic point of view, was the concept of guna. Guna means quality, attribute, characteristic. And Ayurveda is fundamentally a medical system that deals with gunas. Gunas appear in two things, in dravya and in karma. Dravya means substance, and karma means action. So these are the two things that we have in the world. We have substances, all kinds of different substances, and we have actions, all kinds of different actions. But the thing that substances and actions share is that they all have characteristics, attributes, qualities in the context of what happens when they intersect with a human organism. And those qualities may be very simple and straightforward. Neem is always cold, it's always bitter, it's always astringent, it's very straightforward. You never have to wonder about neem. Other things, you may, sometimes in small amounts, they will have one effect, and in large amounts, they will have another effect. And they can be much more complex, but they are all having effects, and all of those effects are characterized by certain qualities. And I think this is something that is very much lacking in the modern way of looking at things. There's certainly the concept of action. In fact, that from my perspective is the way that most modern medical personnel look at substances and activities, is how they're going to act on the person. So is it going to make the blood pressure go up? Is it going to make the blood pressure go down? But they don't ask themselves, is it making the blood pressure go up by heating the person? Is it making the blood pressure go down by cooling the person? Is it causing the blood pressure to go up by constricting the blood vessels? Or is it making it go up by actually having some sort of effect on creating greater heat to be manifested in the body, dilating the blood vessels and possibly increasing the blood volume? I think in the modern world, it has been a case of, in general, and specifically in the medical profession, of having far too much information and not enough way to organize the information. So it took me a little bit of time to become familiarized with this concept of using guna, but once I did that, I found that, in fact, it was extremely useful um, because it allowed me to understand the actions of various substances and actions much better than I could have if I'd just been looking at it from the standard modern point of view. One other thing, of course, that it was a great benefit to me when I was studying in India is that I had access to an abundant amount of clinical experience in the city of Pune. The Tilak Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, where I studied, had not only the city blood bank, but also a hospital associated with it. And mine was one of the not very many Ayurvedic colleges that taught not only standard internal medicine Ayurveda, but also surgery. So it was extremely valuable to me to be able to actually have exposure to all sorts of different clinical procedures in a hospital environment, as well as in outpatient environments. And I think that that is a big challenge when one is studying Ayurveda now, not only in places that are outside India, but to some degree, even in many places in India, because it is theory is one thing, but actually seeing how what the theory tells you and seeing how that interacts with a living human being is something that is can't be obtained any other way but by experiencing it. So that is something that it continues to be a challenge for people studying Ayurveda outside of a formal program in a place like India. And I think that certainly as time goes by, hopefully that will become the clinical opportunities for clinical experience will be increased. And of course, for me, that was also, it was not just a learning experience from the clinical point of view. It was very much also a learning experience from the perspective of from the cultural perspective as well. And I'm keeping an eye on the clock, but I have to give you one example of this because it made such an impression on me. Back in the 70s, there was television had just been introduced not long before, but everybody went to the movies, and including me, and so the entire population would regularly go to the movies, and the entire population had come to the understanding that there were 3 levels of significance in medical treatment. And those significant levels of significance were pills, injections, and surgical operations. If you had a minor problem, you would be given a pill. If you had a medium-sized problem, you would be given an injection. And if you had a major problem, you would be given a surgical operation. And it was not at all easy to explain because even though people back at that time were very much familiar with Ayurveda, Ayurveda was not anywhere as well known or as widespread as it had been maybe 150 years earlier when it was everywhere. But the British had changed all that, and now everybody was, their perspective, their way of looking at things was much more from the perspective of what's called in India allopathic medicine, what we think of as standard modern medicine. So often, and I saw many people do this, it was necessary to, if you wanted to make sure from the perspective of the placebo effect that the patient felt that they were getting some really serious treatment, you would have to give them an injection of something. Otherwise, they would feel like you were not taking them seriously. So whether this was right or wrong is a different matter. Whether this is Ayurvedic or not Ayurvedic, and let me assure you, there were big debates about that. The practical reality was, at that time, in order to get the patient, because if you want the result to be there, you and the patient have to understand one another. And if the patient does not have faith, either in you or in the medicine or in the procedure or in something, if there's no faith, the prana, the life force, the chi is not going to move, and the problem is not going to go away. So faith has to be generated somehow. And sometimes this was the most effective way to generate faith. So this is something I learned very practically, that you have to get the person to appreciate the reality of the treatment, whatever it may be. And sometimes you might have to make a bigger show or a different kind of show in order for them to agree to do what you knew was actually going to get them to become better. So, I mean, I could go on for days and weeks and months and so on, because there's so much to be said. But I think that I think probably the most, for me, the most important thing that I experienced as a student of Ayurveda was having the advantage of a mentor to assist me, not only when I was studying theoretically in the college, not only when I was being exposed to the treatments, but to give me some practical, and I was very fortunate. I had my main mentor, Vimalananda, but also at that time, Dr. Vasant Lad was teaching in the college. Vaidya B.P. Nanal, who was Dr. Lad's teacher, was teaching there. So we had significant advantages of being able to go and spend time and watch watch these Vaidyas, these Ayurvedic physicians working. So I would encourage all of you to take whatever opportunities you can to watch other people working, even if they're not in your college, even if whoever they may be, even if they're not strictly speaking practicing Ayurveda, because honestly, from the perspective of interacting with human beings and trying to get them to change their ways and move in the direction of health, I mean, that's a universal thing. You may call it whatever you want to. And I like to call it Ayurveda because, after all, Ayuhu means life, Veda means knowledge of, and that pretty much covers everything. On that note, it is now 8:30. I will turn the floor back over to Dr. Anupama. And thank you very much for inviting me, and happy Diwali to everybody. Shubhakamana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Svoboda. So we can take few questions. So Raj, maybe you can take the podium and then continue with the 1 or 2 questions, because we may have only time to take 2 questions maybe at this time. But thank you so much for your wisdom, words of wisdom. It means a lot for us. Thank you, Dr. Svoboda.
Yes, thank you, Vaidya Svoboda, for your words, your presence very much. This is Raj from the Wellness Educator class. 12 books, 30 books, equally impressive. We are going to have one question here, and it's from Valerina. If you want to unmute yourself and ask, this is the moment you can do that.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for taking the time today to, share your knowledge with us. I have one question, and it is, what is your biggest aha moment while studying Ayurveda?
Well, that's a very good question, because now I have to think about that, because I had several. I think and I can tell you what it was. I can't tell you when it happened, because I don't remember exactly when it happened. But I was not at all well when I went to India. I had been traveling through Africa. I had picked up dysentery. I had it off and on for several years. And I tried all kinds of different medicines, including modern and Ayurveda and homeopathy and so on. But and it improved, but it would never quite go away. And I understand, and I understood that it was a fundamental challenge as a result of lots of ama that I had accumulated during my teenage years. But there came a point when I understood, and when I say understood, I don't mean understood theoretically. I mean understood with my gut brain that it was not that this program of re-educate. Let me start over. That Ayurveda was not. It was not a thing. It's very easy nowadays. We look at everything as things, specific, and in particular things to photograph or things to buy, or it's objectified, it's externalized. But I understood that Ayurveda was not a collection of things, like a collection of herbs and minerals and massages and practices like that. But I had the personal experience that, in fact, as I had been told, but I had only been hearing it theoretically, that there is, and connected to the fact that there is such a thing as prana in the universe, but there is something that I like to call the Ayurveda, that is it's a faculty or a function, or it's something that is very fundamental to the universe, to life itself, and its job is to make things that are living, that are out of balance, come back into balance. Charaka makes it very clear that since the beginning of time, no doctor has ever cured any disease. No doctor has ever cured any patient. Nature is the only power that can cure a patient, get rid of a disease. And when I was able to actually perceive, not intellectually, but viscerally, that there was such a thing like that, and that it was that when I connected to it, that was the thing that was actually having a transformative effect on me. That was a big old aha moment.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question, and it is from Margaret. If you're ready.
Hi, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Svoboda, for spending your time with us. I was referring back to your point about faith and a patient having faith. I was curious as to whether a patient who is new to Ayurveda and skeptical of it then would he or she not improve just purely because of that. And I asked because I was initially a little skeptical of Ayurveda myself, but I came around to becoming a believer fairly quickly.
And how did you become a believer?
It was because I had started to get a little bit concerned about having to use steroid inhalers for my asthma more and more regularly. And I wanted to see if there was some other way of managing my asthma. And after seeing an Ayurvedic practitioner, I was able to get off of all of my inhalers. So I was very surprised by that.
So what I would say about that is you may have been skeptical, but you were not so skeptical that your doubt and your skepticism prevented you from trying it out. So I think that someone whose mind is completely closed, you're going to have great difficulty with. Someone whose mind is open far enough to see whether they can actually get a result, then I think that there is every possibility, because if a person really wants to get well, they will do anything to get well. And my philosophy definitely is whatever works is the medicine, whether it is an Indian herb or whether it requires you to play hopscotch down by the ocean. Whatever works is the medicine. So if you can suggest to something, my astrology mentor was a very eccentric Punjabi man who lived several decades in Toronto. And what he would say is the chief thing about Jyotish is convincing power. You should tell something to the person right off that impresses them. And as soon as you can do that, then they're on your wavelength, and then you just have to bring them along, and then you will be able to show them what they need to see and encourage them to move in the direction that you need to go. So I think sometimes it's just as simple as that. Find something that is going to give them enough of a result that they say that they can identify the result, and they can say, aha, here is a result. And if it can do this much, maybe it can do a little more. And then they do something a little more, and they get a little more. But it just, that initial moment of understanding that this actually has done something. And you will always find people whose doubt is so ingrained that they refuse to, and of course, there are some people who have some reason that it benefits them to be unwell. Hopefully you don't run into too many of them. But I think the main thing is, as long as you are willing, or the person you're working with is willing to try something out, then there's every chance that, just like with they will find that, aha, now I can actually manage this condition without having to take steroids. And isn't that beneficial? And I felt exactly the same way. And I've been able to do that with various conditions I've had. And I'm very thankful to everything as a result.
That's great. I thought that was really fascinating. So thank you for explaining that.
With pleasure.
Vaidya Svoboda, thank you once more. It was an honor having you speak at our program today.
Thank you.
And at this time, I would like to introduce Angela Romero, our very next speaker.
Hi, thank you so much, Raj, and thank you, Dr. Svoboda. That was an amazing speech. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Angela Romero, and I'm a second-year student currently in the Ayurveda Practitioner Program. I wonder if you believe your words are your existence. And do you know the power of positive daily affirmations? If you've never used affirmations before, it's a powerful tool to remind yourself of your worth and your value, as well as encourage you to be more focused and driven towards your goals. Whether your goal is simply to be healthier or land that dream career, improve your mindset, or boost your immune system, positive affirmations can help you get there. I believe we are what we think, and our words are our very existence. Every single thought we think has power to bring you towards health or towards diseases, to peace of mind or mental anguish. Your mind is like a garden. It can be filled with flowers and vegetables or full of weeds that just crowd out the good stuff. By repeating affirmations on a regular basis, you're changing the very landscape of your being. You are actually planting seeds of health, essentially crowding out the weeds. Implementing affirmations into your daily routine will not only feel better, have a stronger immune system, you will also be on your way to reaching your goals. With that being mentioned, maybe you have an affirmation already prepared or are thinking of something now you would like to improve or focus on. At this time, we kindly ask you to turn your camera on, as well as we are going to stop the screen share to enable view of all participants. To view all, just tap the small cluster on the top right hand corner of the squares, and it's called Gallery View. So let's go here. So grab your candle and a light and join us for the most intentional part of the night. As you light your candle, think about your goals, think about your purpose, and whisper your words of intention into the flame. You have only prosperity to gain. An affirmation for tonight is to promote the health and happiness of all worldwide and our commitment to grow Ayurveda globally. Now I present Dr. Svoboda, who will chant the Dhanvantari mantra, after which Dr. Frawley will administer the Ayurveda pledge. Thank you.
Please everybody light the candle and bring it towards the camera in the screen with the smiling, peaceful face, okay?
Now I'm unmuted.
I can't start my camera.
Yeah, that's okay. No worry.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantariye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trilokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.
Thank you all for participating. I now would like to bring on Dr. Frawley. I believe he's here today with us.
Yeah, Dr. Frawley is here. Dr. Frawley? You can unmute your microphone. I think you're on mute.
Done.
Yes.
Hari Om. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hari Om.
Hari.
Wonderful. Okay. So I will be giving this pledge, and it also forms, as we say, a sankalpa, or deeper intention, which is where we want to go. And I will repeat it in short parts, and you can repeat after me. This Ayurveda pledge. I pledge to make Ayurveda.
I pledge to make Ayurveda
An integral part of my daily life.
an integral part of my daily life.
and thereby enable good health and well-being
and thereby enable good health and well-being
for myself, my family, and my community.
for myself, my family, and my community.
In harmony with nature.
In harmony with nature.
That is our pledge for Ayurveda Day, and let us make every day an Ayurveda Day.
Dr. Frawley, also known as Pandit Vamdev Shastri, is a Vedic teacher, Vedacharya, and author of 40 published books on yoga, Ayurveda, and Ayurveda. And he also translated more than 20 languages in worldwide. He also writes on educational and civilizational concern relative to India and Vedic culture. He has received a Padma Bhushan Award from the President of India, Doctor of Letters, D.Litt, from Vyasa University, and from Ram Manohar Lohia Ayodhya University, and a National Eminence Award from South Indian Educational Society. He is a director of American Institute of Vedic Studies in US, which offering training in Vedic knowledge system, including online courses with numerous students worldwide. He frequently visits India and is associated with many Vedic organizations in different countries. He is regarded as one of the pioneers in the global spread of yoga and Ayurveda over the last several decades, and promoting a new view of the Vedas and global heritage. He has worked with many Ayurvedic groups in the United States, including National Ayurvedic Medical Association, California College of Ayurveda, and Chopra Center. He has been affiliated with the Center for Soft Power in India since its inception. Let's welcome Dr. David Frawley. Thank you.
Namaste. I'm very happy to be with you on this important Ayurveda Day. And I'm very happy to see your enthusiasm and the depth of your interest and the depth of your examination. And I'm happy to see the Southern California University of Health Sciences taking on Ayurveda in a very serious and educational manner. And I want to especially thank Anu for repeatedly requesting me to come and being able to draw me into this particular event, and also sharing the background and the whole projects involved. I am very happy to follow after Rabbi Svoboda, who is one of the main luminaries of Ayurveda globally, not only in the United States, and who shows his wealth of knowledge and experience. I want to thank in particularly the India Foundation and its Center for Soft Studies, Soft Power, and Cultural Diplomacy for putting together or bringing together everyone or many people on this particular event. And this idea of Ayurveda Day is an extension of the Yoga Day. I remember joining the first Yoga Day in India in 2015 when it had gone international. And there was also the desire to do the same with Ayurveda. Question is, what day do you use? Yoga had been identified with the summer solstice for a long time. I won't go into the symbolism there because it's rather complex. But for Ayurveda Day, Dhanvantari Jayanti, which is also Dhanteras, has always been associated with Dhanvantari and Ayurveda, although it is now more associated with Lakshmi and gold and progress and prosperity. So that became the ideal day. The only difference is this Dhanvantari Jayanti, as per the Hindu calendar, is done on a solar lunar calendar based upon different full moons. And so what it means is this Jayanti will occur at slightly different dates every year, anywhere from late October to early sometime in November like now. So it doesn't have the same day every year, but it is have a specific timing and history. And naturally, it also comes before the Diwali, which is a big celebration in its own right, the return of Sri Ram from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya. Last year, I was fortunate enough to spend Ayurveda Day in Ayodhya and in the Diwali in Ayodhya. I wasn't able to do so much for Ayurveda in terms of programs, but we were able to be involved with the lighting of over 3 lakhs of ghee lamps or diyas or oil lamps. And I just heard that this year they had did almost 6 lakhs, 600,000. The head of the university there, Ram Manohar Loya, Ayodhya University, was our friend. We'd been working with them for some years, so we're able to participate in that project. And of course, as Rabi has done with the chant, the Dhanvantari energy, the energy of Vishnu, the transformative force is very powerful, and we need to draw that energy into ourselves. At the same time, I would like to note that Lord Shiva is also a great patron of Ayurveda. In Rig Veda, the supreme Vedya, they say Bishaktamam Tvam Bishajam Shanomi is Shiva. And he has his 2 forms as Soma, which is Rasayana and tonification, and Rudra, which is the purification forces. But in fact, all the divine energies, all the yogic energies are connected to Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the medicine of yoga. There's no tradition of yogic medicine, yoga chikitsa, yoga diagnosis, anything like that apart from Ayurveda until perhaps these last few decades when people learned yoga without a background in Ayurveda and didn't realize the close connection between the two. We know Patanjali also practiced both. Many great rishis were connected to both. There's a long history and orientation there, but essentially chikitsa therapy is the yoga, is the Ayurvedic topic. Yoga is the sadhana topic. Again, won't go into details of Yoga Sutras, but that is how we see yoga as the realization of the inner being and also the purification of the mind, and Ayurveda as the removal of disease, disharmony. So the two cross over to a very great extent. Now, I'm very happy to have been working in this yoga Ayurveda field for 40, 50 years now, ever since the late 60s. And Ayurveda came slightly after yoga, but still more than 40 years ago. And we've seen a phenomenal expansion of Ayurveda globally on every continent, North America, South America, Europe, Russia, Africa, Southeast Asia. Recently, I've been involved with Ayurveda in Russia, Brazil, Netherlands, we did today. UAE has a very strong orientation towards Ayurveda, of course, all aspects of Europe, United States, all of that. So we're very happy to see this expansion that has gone on, and you're part of that. And the movement of Ayurvedic education, the movement of clinical Ayurveda, and also even the movement, as we'll talk about, of the psychological Ayurveda. Now, of course, we are in a difficult period and hiatus in terms of that simple expansion because many things are shut down. I'm calling you, or seeing you from New Mexico, and we've just started a new lockdown today, going on for at least the next 2 weeks. And that also means no yoga classes, even in a person, and no Ayurveda, no massage, none of these things. These things were highly restricted in any case. And we see a big health challenge for the society. And that's also limiting some of the practices and techniques and methods of Ayurveda. But it is my view that Ayurveda's relevance for the future is going to be even greater. And here I want to make a short reference to the Jyotish. In 2009, when people were talking about 2012, I wrote an article that 2020, for various astrological reasons, would mark what I called a new time of troubles for humanity, including ecological, health problems, possible epidemics, social unrest, all of that. There are reasons for saying that. I'm not going to go into that now. I reposted that in December of 2019, but I was surprised to see even the depth of the problems that have arisen and also the persistence that they've had. Again, there are connections involved. And I don't want to portray any doomsday scenario for anyone. In fact, I would like to look back to the 20th century. And if you see what happened in the 20th century with two major world wars, among many other things, you see that humanity does go through various types of crisis and difficulties and growth transformations, positively or negatively, every century. And we are coming into our century challenge. And a lot of this is also connected to our new technology and our new way of life and our modern medicine. And I'm not going to be blaming anybody for this. Many of these things are quite necessary for various reasons of human evolution or collective karma and so forth. But they are very challenging factors nonetheless. We are in a highly electrified society, media of all types, internet, cell phones, smartphone, iPads, iPhones, all these things. I'm happy to say I wrote 6 books on a typewriter, including books that were 500 pages long. You had to think quite a bit more seriously before typing when you did that. At the same time, I really wouldn't want to go back there and have to write books that way. But the point is that we are in a highly disturbing society in terms of disruption from nature, in terms of aggravation, particularly of Vata dosha, but even Pitta and Kapha can get aggravated in our culture, Rajas and Tamas, there's various factors going on. The organic nature of life is being questioned, ecology is being disturbed, yet there are various positive ecological health, alternative medicine, natural healing movements, Ayurveda. Modern medicine has developed a very powerful drug-based model, seeing human health in terms of chemistry, or structural model in terms of surgery. Structural model is a little more sound, but even the drug models, drugs have their place, strong antibiotics, strong analgesics, strong medicines or drug medicines may be necessary in certain particularly acute conditions, vaccines, all of that. But we have to remember that at the end of the day, we remain organic and we might say yogic beings. We cannot simply be reduced to chemistry or to structure, nor can mere chemical or structural changes make us happy and healthy overall, although they can bring about certain improvements. So what we are seeing now is a great breakdown in both physical and psychological immunity on the planet for some of these various reasons, stress, all of that. And that is affecting everyone. And there are not simple cures for that in simply the ordinary medicine that we have, not that it cannot be of some help. And that is where, when we go back to Ayurveda, we see that we don't look at the human being simply as chemistry and structure. In fact, if we're just simply chemistry, particularly brain chemistry, good or bad, or structure or good genetics or bad genetics, then where is the human being? Where's the Atman? Where is the inner being? Is there anybody, real person there? You could almost have a case that we are just machines who can be chemically modified, ruled by artificial intelligence, and then we can create peace and harmony in the world through that kind of 1984 social control. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that there are pressures in these particular directions that will force us back into honoring our inner nature, which is our Atman, our Purusha, and the forces of the outer nature around us, all the healing powers of the plants, the waters, the sky, the mountain, the rivers, the stars, the universal prana, and the universal intelligence that we can connect to yoga and Ayurveda. And what I want to stress tonight is that Ayurveda also has a psychological model and counseling model. The psychological model of Ayurveda is the same model as yoga and Vedanta, whether it's the Panchakosha or the three bodies or Chitta, Buddhi, Manas, Ahankara. All these processes, kleshas of yoga, all these things are interconnected. And here, just briefly looking into yoga and Ayurveda, particularly through Yoga Sutras. Yoga, of course, Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the calming and the disidentification with the mind. You are not the mind. That is the first message of yoga. Second message, Tadadrashtu Sarupayavasthana. You can dwell then in the nature of the universal seer. So we look at yoga in traditional Ayurvedic texts like Charak and Shashrut. They're more concerned with yamas and niyamas, and with yoga as kind of a sattvic practice for elevating the mind and the consciousness, or essentially what we call Raja Yoga. Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara addresses that quite a bit. I go over his works quite a bit. And this idea of yamas, niyamas, and related purification practices, they also call Chitta Shuddhi, purifying the Chitta, Chitta Shodhana, same meaning, or Chitta Prasadana, calming, clarifying. In other words, emotional calm and well-being. Satya gives truthfulness, peace, balance within us. Ahimsa removes harmful factors in our own psychology and emotions, our negative thoughts. Santosha, contentment. I don't have time to go into all of that. Tapas, working, getting our inner Agnis to work, and so forth, so that we do have this whole tradition of inner purification, achara rasayana, behavioral medicine, changing our daily behavior and thoughts. And in this regard, the klesha model of yoga is the psychological model of disease. Again, no time to go into that. But essentially, we lack knowledge of our inner being, and that brings about arrogance, ignorance, that brings about dualities, raga dvesha, that brings about addictions and attachments at a deep level, abhinivesha, or the rajas and tamas into the mind. Mind also has its doshic factors. It's easy to see how most of these fear and anxiety problems are going to be relating to vata dosha, how the anger and jealousy, envy, competition problems relate to the pitta dosha, all the deep-seated attachments, greed, holding on, dullness in the mind to excess kapha dosha. And then, as you know, rajas and tamas are the doshas or the disease-causing factors at the level of the mind. Rajas, disturbed state of emotions, and tamas, the deep-seated addictions, creating the sattvic minds, foundation of healing through pranayama, mantra, meditation, right living. And I also want to let you know what karma yoga is. Karma yoga is not just seva, either for ourselves or for the world. Karma yoga is dharmic living, living according to your dharma, and also following your Ayurvedic lifestyle. Now, that being said, I want to look a little more at this psychological model. You know, there's two main causes of disease in Ayurveda. First is the prajna parada, or the failure of prajna, which is experiential wisdom or even self-knowledge. Sometimes it's also called vijnana. You need to have that type of knowledge by experience, but above all, knowledge of oneself. We also call that anubhuti or anubhava in Vedanta. You have to know your inner being. And what happens is we have a fundamental problem with the buddhi, our inner intelligence. Prajna parada is the main buddhi dosha. It's the main failure of the buddhi, where instead of discerning the inner from the outer or connecting to our inner being, the buddhi identifies with the external world. I am this this is mine. And this basic mistake of the buddhi, identification with the body and the mind, then creates what we call the chitta dushti, or it causes disease imbalances at the level of the mind on all levels, just as you might say the wrong food, the wrong digestion causes the buildup of ama in the tissues overall. And we started out with the pledge. The pledge, we say, is a sankalpa. And one of the main ways of changing the buddhi and how it works is through changing our sankalpas, which include our motivations and our intentions. We did this Ayurveda Day sankalpa. There are sankalpas for every puja and every yajna and every sadhana. They have positive sankalpas in life, or as Upanishads say, satya sankalpa. Satya sankalpa then leads you to the Atman or the Brahman. And then the second aspect of cause of disease relative to wrong use of the senses. And this is something that is extremely widespread today. And today, of course, we have so many more sensory stimulations than anyone else ever could have. But it's interesting, almost all these sensory stimulations we have involved looking at screens. In other words, they require making ourselves two-dimensional, losing our depth perception, and so everything becomes superficial, black and white. And we have to remember too that our senses bring in prana and sattva guna from nature. If we don't have that, then we just build up rajas and tamas from artificial sensory impulses, or as we say, what the junk food does from the body, junk impressions do to the mind. So the Ayurvedic view has a psychological view that is very important and can be explored at all these different levels. It also has its own treatment like Medhya, rasayanas, all these wonderful herbs, ashwagandha, of course, brahmi, mandukaparni, shankapushpi, shalajit, chatamamsi. It also has its various oils based upon these, its various therapies based upon these, and all the related yoga therapies that come in with that as well. But ultimately, we have to look upon Ayurveda. We go back and say Ayurveda is self-healing. What is self-healing? And in this Vedic system of psychology, or the mind, which Ayurveda also embraces, it teaches us very simply, you are not the body, you are not the mind. Your true self is neither body nor mind. It is the inner consciousness, the Atman, the witness, the Purusha, the seer that is beyond time and space, that is beyond name, form, and number, that is the essential light, the source of light, life, prana within you, and that is the ultimate source of healing and self-healing. And from that inner awareness, then we use body and mind properly as instruments. You know, take your car. If you use it for speeding and recreation, you tend to abuse it. When you understand how the instrument works, then you use it in an harmonious manner. And that's what Ayurveda teaches us, how to recognize how the body works, honor the prakriti. It has its way of functioning. Fire burns. You can't ask for fire not to burn. That is what it does. And so we have to honor these processes of nature. Body has its prakriti. Body is mainly made up of sense organs and motor organs for the experience of the mind and the Atma. It also has internal organs that sustain these sense and motor organs. It is energized by the outer aspect of prana, the pancha pranas through the pranamaya kosha and all of that. And then we have the mind. Mind is also an organic system. It's a lot like your computer. You have in your mind your memory bank, you have your language processor, you have your calculation function, you have an imagination function, but you also have emotions, you have dream, you have sleep. you have processes that go on. Body and mind are connected via the food. Mind is connected into body via the prana and the senses. It's also your instrument, outer instrument, body, inner instrument, mind. You are that inner self that is the source of the life and the light through which these work. That is the basis of Ayurveda as self-healing, and the way of Ayurveda as a way of self-knowledge, which we also call the Vedanta. I always emphasize that Ayurvedic students should learn the Vedanta. We've had great teachers of Vedanta ourselves. There are many teachers in that field. And it's very important that we have this process of self-knowing, and we embrace Ayurveda as body, mind, and consciousness. And we learn to communicate with our clients, not simply at the level of information, physical movements and structures, but at the level of our inner being and our dharma and our spiritual purpose in life, which varies according to each individual. So this psychological model, this counseling model of Ayurveda is important. It is more important during, you might say, this pandemic era. And it is certainly something that we can embrace for the future. Clinical model, we also need to know. Herbs, we need to know. Diet, we need to know. Sometimes people tell us, well, you know, this is just too complex. I mean, can't I just do one thing? And I say back to them, well, you are eating, sleeping, walking, breathing, thinking, emoting. You're doing all these things anyway. Why don't you do them with awareness? Why don't you do them with prana? Why don't you do them with the knowledge of yoga and Ayurveda? Because if you don't, these very processes can be debilitating or destructive. So as we move into this next century and further, we have to embrace this higher consciousness that looks at the machine as a tool. Computers, information are tools. Information is not knowledge. You can twist it any way you want. Information tells us certain things, but you need a power of insight or judgment to make sense of it and to see directly. If you see directly, you don't need to have all the data. If you can see your way, you don't need to know everybody who's been down that path and which direction they've gone and what they've thought. You go forward along your way. So Ayurveda gives us a medical system that allows us to reclaim our own health, well-being, and connection with nature. It's not denying modern medicine, but it's saying it is not the entire picture. And also through meditation, we can reclaim our own awareness. So we use our information technology with wisdom, and we don't look at it to solve our problems for us. It's for outer things. It is not for the inner decision. We must know ourselves. So let us make sure that we use our technology to free ourselves from outer dependency so that we can be creative and move within, not so that we are simply caught in that outer technology and have it dominate us. That is the challenge. And yoga and Ayurveda, Vedanta shows us the way out. There are many other factors, systems throughout the world that help, but that is the direction that we need to go in. And so the wisdom of Ayurveda becomes more relevant. Even if we can't do all the practices, we can change the mindset. We can question the civilization and say that in spite of all this science and technology, we aren't happy. Happiness comes from within. Awareness comes from within. Let us connect to the cosmic mind, not just simply to the internet, and we can discover the entire universe inside of ourselves. I don't know what my particular time limitation is here, but I think I've made clear the main points that I wish to make. The wisdom of Ayurveda is open to you, not only outwardly, but also inwardly. There are still great gurus in these traditions. You can also access them inwardly as well as outwardly. Great traditions, great teachings, great text you can study. Tremendous things out there. I'm happy that I was able to experience some of these things for myself and just encourage you to go further. I was one of 10 children from a Catholic family in a small Midwestern town. How I got out of that and over here, I don't know. But There's definitely higher powers at work in the world and in the universe. We can access these, and we can always access these at an individual level. Even if we can't change the society, it's very hard to change other people. We can change ourselves. We can be a light to the world, a prana to the world. And when that occurs, then we will share that with everyone. We will create the seeds, and humanity will change. It may take time. But remember, we live in a universe of prana, consciousness, self-awareness. That is our true home. Our little bubble of human nature will eventually evolve and transform. So let us go forward with strength, determination, faith, fearlessness, and continue this light of the deeper wisdom of the rishis and the great yogis for all. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and happy Ayurveda Day, happy Diwali, Dhanteras. Let us share our light and bring that light and even that supreme Ananda to all. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Dr. Frawley. Thanks for such an inspirational talk and taking time to come here and communicate with the SCU Ayurveda community. Thanks a lot. I think, Raj, now you can go with the question. We will do only one question maybe at this time because of the time.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Frawley. We will take a question from Prasiddha.
Namaste, Dr. Frawley. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I just want to personally thank you. You're definitely one of my idols in the world of Ayurveda, speaking always from the perspective of the consciousness and psychology side, which I think is so beautiful. And I just wanted to ask, what do you think that spirituality can be separated from Ayurveda? And if so, what is the consequence of that?
Yes. Well, the problem is the word spirituality. Spirituality is a very vague word, and to different people it means different things. It can be religion, it can be occultism, it can be some particular practice of one type or another, meditation. So what we talk about in Ayurveda and the Vedic system is the Atma Vidya, or the self-knowledge, and what we call the Adhyatma approach of moving into the inner self. There's actually many mystical states you can get into. There are even many samadhis that are mixed or disturbed, not pure samadhis. So that the deeper way of self-knowledge, self-inquiry is what we emphasize. And of course, that is also universal. You must know yourself. But knowing yourself, we must question everything, question the mind, question our means of knowledge, question our civilization, question our species. Even, but the Yoga, Vedanta, Ayurveda have that whole experiential way of self-knowledge available. It's there here and there elsewhere. I'm not certain it has the same degree in all the places it is presented, but it's part of human life. And that can never be separated. Ayurveda is a way of self-knowledge, not only knowledge of the physical self and the psychological self, but of the universal self that is beyond, that is behind and beyond them. So that is what we mean by Ayurveda and spirituality, not just any type of mystical or any type of occult idea or experience or altered state of consciousness. There are many, many states of consciousness that are possible, but ultimately we must return to that basic self-awareness that is the being, the presence of all the Satchitananda. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Dr. Frawley, thank you once more for sharing your wisdom regarding Ayurveda and its relationship with the Vedas. So we will now move on to our next item, and that will be with Rachel Kanakaole. Rachel, are you there?
I was muted the whole time. So here, everyone, here's a little fun part of the night. We are going to be doing the raffle. I'm a student here at SCU and a member of the Ayurveda Club. So For the first raffle, if everyone can go into their emails where they RSVP'd and pull up their numbers. So what we're going to be doing, we have 2 winners for this first raffle. The first one I'm going to give out is the $100 Target gift card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use technology. I'm going to use Siri, and we're going to ask her to pick a number between 1 and 191, because those are the numbers for the RSVPs in the raffle. And so based off of that, we will call your number and I will find your name on our list and also say the name. And so you have to be present to win. And if you're not present, then we will go on to the next one. So if everyone is ready, I'm going to ask her and let's hope she responds in the first one. So, hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 112.
So could you guys all hear her? So 112 was the first number. Does anyone, I'm going to check my list right off the back. So 112 is Alana. So let's see if Alana is here. And if not, we will move on to the next one and call someone again. So it looks like Alana is not in right now. So we're going to go again. All right. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 163.
Is it funny to hear her talk? So 163. So is that anyone's number? And I have a little.
That is Christina.
Christina. Are you on here, Christina? Yay! Okay, awesome. So
congratulations.
You have won $100 Target gift card. And so we all know how therapeutic Target can be. So if you can write me personally on the chat, or I will write you, either way, and we'll get your name and we'll get your email and confirmation, and the gift card will be digital. So we'll get it to you. So I'm going to move on to the next winner, or the next giveaway that we're going to do. Banyan Botanicals so graciously gave us bundles to give away as well. So the first one is going to be a bundle for immune support. Again, we're going to do the same thing. So have your numbers ready. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 183.
183, if you could all hear that.
I think that's mine.
Caitlin Boyle here?
I'm here.
Yay!
Yay!
Congratulations.
Yay, Caitlin! So surprised.
I know.
Caitlin, and you won!
All right, so again, we're going to be, contact me, or again, I'll write you and we'll get your information. We will be putting you in contact with Banyan Botanicals and they will be sending you the bundle. So congratulations to our 2 winners so far. And thank you so much to everyone who has been on with us since 5 p.m. Thank you to our faculty, our speakers, our club members. I hope everyone is having a beautiful night so far. And we are going to continue with one of our final speakers, Dr. Geetha Krishnan. And I hope that everyone is ready. And again, I hope that you're all enjoying this beautiful Ayurveda Day and Diwali celebration. All right.
Thank you, Rachel. I really like this talking with the Siri.
Yeah, everyone.
That was fun, and randomly picking the number. That is really cool. Thank you.
Technology, right?
Yes, that is. So let me introduce our next speaker, Dr. Geetha Krishnan. Dr. Geetha Krishnan is our technical Dr. Geetha Krishnan is a technical officer at the Traditional Complementary and Integrative Medicine Unit of WHO at Geneva. He's responsible for developing global goods, supporting norms and standards of traditional medicine systems such as Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and Yoga. These include benchmark document for practice and training Ayurveda and Unani, as well as standard terminology documents for Ayurveda, Unani, and Siddhanta system of medicine. He is also currently engaged in developing data, analytics, and impact assessment tool for traditional medicine, and is involved in steering development of Ayurveda, Unani, and Siddha medicine modules of causes of morbidity to be included in the International Classification of Disease, ICD-11, with the view of providing self-health care tools for health promotion. He's also developing the Yoga mobile app for WHO in collaboration with the UN International Telecommunication Union, UN International Computing Center, and Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Government of India. Through this app, WHO will provide step-by-step guidance to healthy people to do yoga based on internationally developed video tutorials and audio instructions. He's also engaged in supporting low and middle income countries to develop the national policies and guidelines for the appropriate use of traditional medicine within their national health system. He's a researcher as well as a very expert clinician in the field of Ayurveda. He has almost 20 plus years of experience in Ayurvedic medicine with a specific training, clinical and research experience in integrative medicine. He also has the research experience in herb drug development. He had been engaged with the traditional medicine and health related policy and advocacy in several countries. As a clinician, he has more than 2 decades of experience, of which 9 years was spent heading one of the most prestigious integrative medicine facilities in India. As a researcher, he has several research projects and publications to his credit. He is the key member of Ayush-based COVID-19 response task force of Government of India, as well as organizers of several clinical trials on COVID internationally and within India. So after he started his work in WHO, there are so many changes happen in the field of Ayurveda, and we are extremely proud about him. And I'm so happy that he could find time. It's early, he's in Geneva now, so it's early morning, 4 a.m. there. So really appreciate considering our request and joining us to address our SCU community, Ayurveda community. And also we are proud to have him as our advisory board. Let's welcome Dr. Geetha Krishnan. Namaste, sir. Thank you.
Namaste, Dr. Anu. It was a really nice introduction. It is good morning to all of you, or good evening to all of you, sorry. And happy Deepavali to you and happy Dhanvantari Day to you, because it is already happy Deepavali to me. It's the next day. And it's a pleasure for me to speak to all of you, and it is really a wonderful experience to see all of you, my friends, Dr. Anu and Dr. Vinjamuri in the group of panelists here, and I'm sure that it will be a great experience for all of you studying Ayurveda under the program run by the University of Southern California. And I'm very excited to see all of you, because I never expected so many number of people late in the night. Probably it's around 8 o'clock, and it is time that you all went home and had your time. Today is a Friday, and for you, and probably Fridays are days when you take off earlier. So thanks for being here. And I should also start by saying that it is very difficult to start making any kind of an impact while you talk about Ayurveda after talking, like if you are talking after Dr. Frawley, and then add on to that Dr. Svoboda, like it is unimaginably, you have positioned me in a very difficult situation, Dr. Anu. My talk is more technical in nature, so fortunately I don't have to get into the areas where they were trying to explain and try to compete with them to get your attention. But I am trying to talk to you about what is the prospectus and what is happening for Ayurveda across the globe. So let me share my screen with you so that it is where is my presentation? Yeah, Here it is. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Is it visible? Okay.
Yes.
Right. Good. So this is what I have been asked to speak about. The global development of Ayurveda has many spectrums, and I have only a few things to tell you because otherwise it's a very very wide area to talk about. So I would just confine myself to few of the points which I am going to discuss here. But let me start by telling you how WHO and traditional medicine are connected. So the traditional medicine program in WHO started something around 1960s or 1965 or so, when the first discussion of that happened in the executive board of WHO. And then it slowly started moving forward, and in about 1976 76 or so, probably that was the first time when WHO had a traditional medicine officer or somebody who is directly working on traditional medicine, or had some kind of one file of traditional medicine attached to that person in something around 1976. And in 1978 came this Alma Ata Declaration. That was the first time when the WHO recognized the importance of traditional health practitioner as a resource in primary health care, which was, of course, reiterated in the Astana Declaration 40 years later in 2018, where it was a little more detailed. It tells you about how traditional medicine could be used in specific clinical areas, and how it could be useful in improving the health of people rather than looking at only the diseases of disease management, etc. WHO focuses at this particular moment on managing or utilizing traditional medicine for public health and improving the health of people in three areas. One is product, practitioner, and practices. And these are the three core areas for any system to work in any kind of environment. If you don't have products, if you don't have a practitioner, and if you don't have the practices, you cannot you cannot have that traditional system of medicine or any system of medicine in any community. So regulating it, creating norms and standards for these three diverse or pillars of practice or practice of any medicine is what WHO is doing for traditional medicine at this particular moment. Related to Ayurveda, there are a few specific work happening in WHO. We are developing an international norms and standards, which is benchmarks for training and practice in Ayurveda. So I'm very happy to tell you that Dr. Anu as well as Dr. Vinyamuri are closely related and advising us in these developmental activities. We are also developing an international standard terminology for Ayurveda document, which will allow everyone across the globe to understand the Ayurvedic terminology or its definitions of Ayurvedic terminology in common terms. So when somebody speaks in Sanskrit, somebody speaks in Urdu, somebody speaks in Hindi or Malayalam, it doesn't matter, but you have the same understanding. We are trying to bring that uniformity for Ayurveda. We are developing morbidity codes for Ayurveda for inclusion in the international classification of diseases. There are millions and millions of Ayurvedic healthcare interventions that happen every year, but we still lack enough capability to analyze it and understand it, because we don't have a way of codifying and collecting the data. So inclusion of Ayurveda in the ICD coding system of WHO will be a great step towards that. And that itself will create a lot of evidence, which all of you are probably looking for in your practice or in your future practice. We have also established an intra-governmental agency for developing consensus in regulatory framework for herbal medicines. We have 36 countries in this, 3 of them as observers. which is an international, it is called as the International Regulatory Cooperation of Herbal Medicines. It is a collective of the regulators for pharmaceutical products in many countries. So we help them to come to consensus on coming up with regulations for bringing in herbal products into each countries. So like it becomes easier for you. You might be aware that you might have difficulty in getting medicines of Ayurveda in US, or probably in Canada, or in many parts of the world. So we are trying to create a uniform pattern for regulatory programs for herbal medicines across the globe. And we are also developing an international pharmacopoeia for herbal medicine, which, when it comes as a pharmacopoeia from herbal medicine from WHO, might have greater acceptance by different governments. So it'll make it easier for medicines to reach all parts of the world. That's the idea behind this pharmacopoeia. There are several publications of WHO. If you want to have any of these publications, they're all freely available in the WHO website. You have to just go to Google, or just type WHO on the net, and get over there. You ask for publications and check for any of these publications. They are all available for free download. So it is, and it's good documents followed by many countries and many organizations. So probably that is something which you can look at. We have a very good news to tell you, because yesterday, or rather today for you, during the Ayurveda Day celebration in India by the Ministry of Ayush, the DG of WHO shared space and time with the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Sri Narendra Modi, and Dr. Tedros announced the establishment of a WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine in India. So this is going to be the focal point for global traditional medicine research and development and support in traditional medicine, like acceptance and regulatory programs in different countries in the coming years. So India has been very proud, and Prime Minister himself said that he is going to take it as a great responsibility to make sure that the center is going to function in the best way possible. So that is a great news that we had today morning. Let me just, because we are talking in the context of COVID-19, let me just also tell you what we have been as WHO doing from traditional medicine programs in COVID-19. So in the month of May, 4th of May, Dr. Tedros gave a speech, or in his daily address, said that all medicines are the same. Like there is no difference between a traditional medicine and any modern medicine. All medicines have to be treated same, all medicines have to be accepted same, and all medicine has to be explored for finding cure for any new diseases. And he said that the only criteria being the efficacy and safety. So this is the only criteria you have to go through, and we have to have good methodologies for understanding and identifying evidence for safety and efficacy. I'm not talking about RCTs and any of those things. I'm talking about good methodologies, which we will come to in our discussion. On the same day, the regional director of AFRO, which is the African Regional Office of WHO, also gave a similar statement, saying that African Regional Office is going to explore the possibilities of African medicine and African herbal medicine in COVID-19. There has been considerable amount of discussion spearheaded by the African Regional Office in bringing together the COVID-19 or people who are experts in herbal medicine and COVID-19 experts, or experts in COVID-19 understanding of COVID-19 disease within the African region, and they developed a kind of a protocol, which is now called as the African Medicine Protocol for COVID-19 Research, which is the one which is being used across Africa for COVID-19 research. And this is something with COVID-19 herbal medicine research, and this is something which came out in the month of July. There has been several efforts in regions and countries, in Western Pacific region of WHO, where China comes. There has been a lot of research which is happening, very interesting research. Lot of traditional Chinese medicine studies have been done, focused on right now something around 6 drugs have been identified with a lot of potentials, and there are interim reports, and some reports which are coming out. Through publications. So we think that there is some major work happening in China related to COVID-19 management and management through traditional Chinese medicine. I told you about what happens in African region, in PAHO, which is the American region of WHO. There has been some work which has been happening in countries like Brazil and Argentina, but not to the extent where it has been happening in China, or and probably in India. I'll come back to Southeast Asia now. Southeast Asia, where India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, these countries have utilized traditional medicine, especially Ayurveda, considerably in a very good fashion to manage COVID-19. I can speak for Sri Lanka, because in Sri Lanka you have a community health worker strata of health workers who are Ayurvedic doctors or Unani doctors or Siddha doctors, but they are called as Ayurveda community health workers team. And this group of health workers in the or Ayurvedic or these doctors were within the community were able to act very specifically in preventing preventing a spread of COVID-19 and management of morbidity in early or mild symptoms of COVID-19 at home itself. And Sri Lanka has made this made this known to us, and we are very happy that they have been able to use this community of traditional medicine practitioners, especially Ayurvedic doctors there, in a very effective manner. In India, the story has been exponentially different. In India, there had been a large number of studies which had happened. I can tell you, if you there has been an app which was launched by the Ministry of Ayush to understand whether there is use of traditional medicine, especially the Ayurveda part of it, by the community within the country. And they had just informed the people that whoever is interested could join and give us information. They were able to get information from 50 million people. It's like more than 50 million data sets were available with them. And this happened within a period of 3 months, which started in the end of May till around I think they stopped collecting the data by July. So something around 3 months of data. And they have the evidence says that people are very happy. People are very, very, very positive about using Ayurvedic interventions for COVID prevention and COVID management. And they have been very diligently following the advice of the Ayush Ministry or protocols of Ayush Ministry in managing COVID. So this was a great thing which happened. And then also there were several other studies which were done in COVID related diseases. Until now, you might be all aware that Ayurveda was not considered to be a part of something to be treating infectious diseases, and it was all something like wellness, or rather that's probably how you would have seen it, or it could also be something like managing NCDs, etc. But this was a new chapter in the current era of Ayurveda, where Ayurvedic medicine was used and researched for management of a new disease, a new viral disease. And I can tell you that clinical trials in India, the total number of clinical trials in India on COVID management is something more than 250. But of that, more than 65% of the studies on COVID-19, which is registered in the Clinical Trial Registry of India, is on Ayurveda interventions, different kinds of Ayurveda interventions, or the same interventions in multiple formats or multiple protocols, or multicentric studies, different kinds of studies which had been happening in India. So there are community-based studies. One of the things which I can tell you is there has been this this happened one of the first places where the number of cases of COVID started increasing quite fast was in Delhi, where the public health professionals who were actually looking after the people or dealing with people started getting affected very fast. That was in the early April, and like the infectivity rate of the Delhi police at that time was around 6 to 6.5%, whereas in comparison to the total Delhi population, which was something around 3% at that time. So then we decided to work with the Delhi police, and I was part of that team when the discussion happened. So the All India Institute of Ayurveda we created a collaboration between them, and the All India Institute of Ayurveda provided them with prophylactic medicines of Ayurveda to 80,000 policemen in the Delhi police. And you should at the end of 3 months, when we analyzed it, we found a big difference in the rate of infectivity. The rate of infectivity of the Delhi police went down from 6.5% to something around 1 or 1.2%, whereas the rate of infectivity of the total Delhi population, which was lying something around 3%, went from 3% to total 6 to 6.5%. So it was totally different. So it was a direct impact of the Ayurvedic interventions that reduced the infectivity rate, and the policemen were very, very happy because there was a lot of death which was happening in the beginning of the infection. So let me now come back to our question of how okay, I could just tell you, in India, the Ayush the ministry has used, or the Indian system has used Ayurveda in reducing the disease burden on the health system, giving Ayush prophylaxis or Ayush therapeutics. So what would happen is, the disease itself is not so dangerous, but it infects very fast, and a small portion of the people get sick, very severely sick, and needs critical care management. But if a large number of if the infection is on a very huge population like that in India, then we don't have the infrastructure to manage the kind of influx that can be expected in a critical care unit. So by managing those patients who doesn't have to come to a critical care center, at home, or at primary healthcare centers, we have reduced the burden of in the critical care programs with this, which was run by the health system in the country, and reduce the burden on the health system. And that is how it has worked out very well in India, when the two systems of medicine had worked together hand in hand. We also try to understand, when we talking about a prophylactic program for COVID-19, it was not a blind understanding of some kind of a viral disease. We had gone and studied with modern medical practitioners who were treating COVID-19 patients, hundreds of them. We looked at the way in which the disease was moving across from one stage to the other, and it was varying in different groups of patients. And then we identified a pattern of the disease, and it was very similar to you probably have some kind of an idea about what Ayurvedic treatment is, or probably I hope that you all understands what jwara means. Jwara is fever, and we understood that this pattern of COVID-19, it was kapha vata adhika sannipada jwara. This is how we have identified that this is the pattern of this disease. So this is the pattern of this jwara. And this is quite I could share it with Dr. Anu or Dr. Vinyamuri. So if you want to use this, you can use this for making them. I'm just moving to the next slide, please. So using this, we went back and we identified which medicine could be given for kapha vata adhika sannipatika jwara, and we identified several drugs which could be given and which could be used in different stages of the disease. In this particular slide was made in the month of something around April, May, and this is when we were not treating Ayurvedic patients with severe or severe diseases of COVID-19 in using Ayurvedic medicine. So this particular, there is no specific systemic treatment for severe and critical situations of COVID in Ayurveda right now. It is not happening. But let me tell you, there are sporadic case reports of very severe cases of COVID being treated through Ayurvedic medicines, and these reports are increasing in number now. So we don't know exactly what the situation is. So I will have to tell you that Ayurveda has been found to be very useful in the management of mild and moderate cases of COVID-19. We have some kind of a information on severe cases of COVID-19, but we do not know. We do not treat critical cases definitely, because critical cases requires ventilator, and Ayurvedic practitioners at this particular moment are not equipped to manage ventilator care of patients. So we are not treating critical care patients. And post-COVID management is a big area where Ayurveda is working in COVID management. So that is with COVID. Ayurveda in countries and diversities, like Ayurveda is present in about 93 countries across the globe. And this happened in the past several decades. Starting from Japan to USA in the entire, or let us say New Zealand to USA, in the entire spectrum of the globe, Ayurveda practitioners and practices are there. Ayurvedic products are available in all continents of the world, and there are different kinds of practice which are being done or which are being adopted by these societies. So, for example, in Switzerland, you have a Ayurvedic educational program which is accepted by the government, and rather it is within the Swiss laws, and as a person who has studied Ayurveda from India or anywhere, an appropriately certified Ayurvedic professional can go to Switzerland, get registered there, and practice there. And only thing is that you need to know either French or German or even Italian. You need to know that language, and you should have some kind of an experience, and or otherwise there are ways of getting yourself integrated into the Swiss system to practice there. I'm not talking about India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan also, of course. That they have core Ayurvedic professional experience and and resources there. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Malaysia. Malaysia has a huge acceptance for Ayurveda, and it's regulatorily accepted to practice there. In Singapore, it's a very interesting situation. It is the responsibility of the practitioner. You can practice Ayurveda. It is the responsibility of the practitioner to make sure that everything that is given to the patient is safe. And if there is any problem which happens to the patient, then the practitioner has to face serious problems. In Australia, there is a government recognized educational program, for Ayurveda, which is also a very good program, which is very similar to that in USA, but a little less intense, I would say. And in USA, of course, you know about what is happening in US, so I don't have to tell you. There are educational programs for modern medical practitioners in Argentina and in many other parts of the world, where modern medical practitioners add on Ayurvedic knowledge as part of their practice. So it's a diverse situation that is happening across the globe, and we are trying to create a consensus so that there is a uniform way of teaching and learning and practicing Ayurveda. This is the picture of clinical setting, practice, and regulation in comparison to other traditional medicine. So you can see this light blue bar, which is Ayurveda. It is 93 countries have Ayurveda. This is from the WHO Global Report on Traditional and Complementary Medicine, which was published in 2019 by WHO. So of these 16 countries have existing regulations. When you say existing regulations, it is like what I talked about in Switzerland. You have a regulated situation where you have a certificate of having studied Ayurveda. You can go there, you can register yourself and start practicing there. There could be different ways of registering, but there is still a possibility that you can register. And there are 5 countries, actually there are 6 countries where Ayurvedic medical treatments are covered through insurances. And I would like to ask this question, like just to understand, or rather to bring to your notice that evidence is cited as the barrier for Ayurveda to be accepted in many countries. But it probably we have to look at what do you mean by evidence. Is evidence always the root of identifying each and every small like progress which happens in medical interventions through an RCT? Is that the only way to reach a sustainable and an efficient health system as early as possible for the entire community? Do we have to identify whether a medicine or a food substance which had been eaten by billions of people for probably thousands of years, does it need to go through for a particular kind of a benefit or particular kind of a management of a disease or a symptom? Does it have to go through the entire process of an RCT to get absorbed into another society? These are questions which you have to ask, because I would always say that like there should be some kind of a social or societal integration of understanding, or consensus, or acceptance or belief, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to if there is McDonald's burger being eaten by thousands of or hundreds of thousands of American youngsters, does it have to go through an RCT for an Indian youngster to have it? This is as simple as that, or probably not as simple as that. But this is the kind of thought which we should look into, because when evidence is put as a barrier, then we have to ask what is evidence, and we have to look at what kind of evidence and what would be accepted as evidence, what defines your evidence, and how do you look at evidence, how did you come to the conclusion of this is evidence. And these are all questions which you'll have to ask, because I am convinced now, after looking at what happened with COVID, I can take that as as an example, because evidence was never the reason why any of the drugs which were given to millions of people or probably billions of people across this globe as prophylactic or as treatment medicines to manage COVID or prevent COVID, it has never been evidence. It was only the hegemony of a system of medicine. That is not, or the thought process of a group of people who thought that they knew that they had something in their hand. But that is not the truth. We, at the end of 8 months or at the end of 9 months of this disease, we know that that is not the truth. But on 15th of October this year, WHO published a document which is somehow not being discussed at all. WHO published a document saying that the entire drug groups, which were the 4 drug groups which were used in Solidarity trial, which we were all hopeful for, saying that it might come out with the best medicine for COVID-19. WHO stated that all the 4 medicines, like hydroxychloroquine to lopinavir to remdesivir to the interferon, all the therapies had insignificant or no effect in the outcome of a patient when the patient is hospitalized. So that means it did not have any effect at all. We were given some kind of a hope, and we were given some kind of a medicine which had no evidence at all. How come one group of rules apply to a group of chemicals, and how come one group of the same group of rules or same rules do not apply to a group of natural, available, known, safe medicines? I don't understand. It is, or rather probably I don't understand or you don't understand. But this is what we have to work against. So this is what we are working against, to get Ayurveda or traditional medicine accepted in different parts of the world. Yeah, I could take you, because this is a fundamental problem. You look at it from 2 different angles. Just to ask Dr. Anu, am I overshooting my time?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I will close now. So it is I think basically what we have to understand is, if you have to get Ayurveda accepted in any situation, we have to have decisive policies, which we have to influence the policy decision. So that is something which we have to plan for. And it's a big program. It cannot be done by one organization or one person or a group of persons. It has to be a global effort to reach that kind of a that situation. It needs to be country specific, because you cannot have a global policy for traditional medicine which is acceptable by all countries. So it will have to be it will have to be country specific, but it will have to be based on some structure which is static, which is like, the policies of the governments are dynamic, I would say, whereas the static content of it, or static part of it, should be the training modules, or the way in which people are trained to become an Ayurvedic practitioner. It should be at least consensually accepted by all countries. That is something of great importance. And also it should be accepted that what kind of a practice, how an Ayurvedic practitioner will practice, that also should be structured in a very general manner, so that it, even with small changes in different countries, it could be acceptable, one single framework which could be acceptable across the globe. That is a very important part of going for deciding on policy. So we need to work towards that. We need to have strategic investments, like, of course, investments also need to be country specific, but at some point of time, investments can be global, and like very vague and very transient, so kind of investments which we need to discuss separately and identify ways of finding it out. And we require effective implementation. If you don't have implementation of these policies and strategic investments, then you don't get any result. So we need to work on these three areas, and that is how I think a global recognition of Ayurveda will evolve. These are all vague statements, but there are concrete plans behind this. I think it will take about 10 years, or probably more than 10 years of continuous work behind this, before we will be able to see a good benefit or considerable concrete outcomes of this. And I'm sure that you will all be part of that, and you will all be supporting that. And thank you so much, and happy Deepavali to all of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Geetha Krishnan, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and your experience. I can see that our students are really, really inspired to hear that, what's happening globally, all the development of Ayurveda globally. So thank you so much. I think we can take one question, maybe, considering the time.
Yes, we can. And again, thank you, Dr. Krishnan. We will take a question from Christina.
Namaste, Dr. Krishnan. Thank you so much for that presentation. So my question is basically, how can we help as practitioners or Ayurvedic educators in contributing to the development of Ayurveda as a form of treatment right now? Because I know it's a pivotal time, and there's a lot of people that are really interested in Ayurveda, at least from where I'm at in the United States. It's very new, and it's going to be developing as, we see this disease develop. So I just want to know what is the best way we can help or contribute to maybe research or information.
Okay, I think one of the first things which we need to do as an Ayurvedic practitioner is to find out the practical or pragmatic interventions which are simple enough, like what Dr. Frawley said. We need to find the Jyotishi who will give you one single first shot which will make you happy, and then follow you. You need to find a pragmatic solution which a person might require. This is quite a vague statement again, but I can tell you, I would suggest that you should start working on pain management. That is something of a big area for Ayurveda. You don't require much of a facility for that. It is quite simple to identify the different reasons for pain. The interventions are very simple and very, very safe. You can start with even with external therapies to internal medications, change in food and diet habits, etc. So pain management is one area. I'm trying to be very, very specific so that you can, so that I'm not making it vague. Pain management is the most important area which we can start working on, because I think in terms of pain management, Ayurvedic interventions are in comparison better than acupuncture. You can treat neuralgia of severe cases where acupuncture won't work. I have presented in Chinese medical forums on this. So I'm very sure of that. You have something very competent in hand to get into that space. I think you should start probably co-locating yourself or your practice with medical practitioners who get pain, like patients with pain. Cancer is a good example. Osteoarthritis, knee joint is another good example. Like a lot of people with, especially with high, like with a heavy body, will definitely have that. If their body weight is high, then usually they have osteoarthritis knee joint while they are old. Geriatric care is another area where we can keep people healthy during their old age. Getting into geriatric homes as a supplementary health management program could be another long-term program or a very sustainable program which can be taken up by Ayurvedic practitioners. This is all I would like to say at this particular moment. I would like to specifically say pain management and then of course geriatric care. These are the two things which you should say. In geriatric care, one specific area you can look into is sleep medicine, because there is nothing in the world as good as Ayurvedic medicine for managing sleep. And sleep is a big problem, especially in old age people. If you can help them to sleep well, you have a very happy group of old people around you. So it will be very good for you. So I think these are the two things which I would say: pain management and geriatric care, and geriatric care specifically sleep management. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Krishnan, thank you so much for joining us, preparing and sharing your presentation today. I want to say happy Diwali and namaste. Now, who is ready to move to actually specifically dance? At this time, I want to introduce Mariana Suarez.
Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? So my name is Mariana Suarez, and I am a student of the Full Star, the Ayurveda Wellness Program of this year. And I'm so excited here to bring you movement, to boost your energy up, and to make your heartbeat race go a little higher up, and just connect with your body and your movement, okay? So I'm a dancer, I'm a yoga instructor, and I've combined these two modalities into one to make yoga dance. So we're gonna be using some movements of yoga or poses of yoga, dance movements, and of course, make a choreography out of it, as long as we also keep the awareness of the body, of the breath, and ourselves, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna stand up. So make sure you have at least, let's say, 2 to 3 feet on to the right and to the left of your space. So you're gonna be moving a little bit and jumping. Let's go ahead and start to bring some energy into the body. So first, go ahead and move your neck. Maybe make a huge circle here to the right. And then go to the left all the way. Make sure you're careful here. You're not going to break that neck. So go slow, taking your time. And go ahead and extend your arms forward. And go ahead and bring your fingers in. Make a fist and out. Flashing lights with your hands. And now move your feet, lift up your legs, and start jumping. Lift your arms up. Keep the arms flashing, the hands flashing, and lift your arms up. Get that energy out. And now start shaking your hands and lifting the feet. Take a deep breath in the nose, and open your mouth, let it out. And make a sound, okay? I want you to make a sound as you do that. One more time, take a deep breath in, and now let it out. Beautiful. Good. Let's come back to center. I'm going to pause the music because we're going to start to learn a combo. So it's going to be a very short one. We're going to do a couple steps We'll learn, we'll repeat, do with music, and above all, just have fun, okay? If you don't get the steps, it's okay. Do whatever you want to do with your body. So we're gonna start with our feet together or Paradam Sadasana, or standing pose in yoga, and our arms in Anjali Mudra. So palms together, bring them to the heart center. All right, so if I'm not mirroring, it's okay if you do right or left first, no matter, just go ahead and again, have fun. So we're gonna move our arms side to side and at the same time, try to bring them up, but you're gonna try to also move your head in the opposite direction. So let's see how that goes. So arms go right, left side with the head, same now to the other side, arms to the left, head to the right. And you're gonna repeat that as you start to reach your arms and hands up 8 times, all the way until you reach as high as you can go. All right, let's do that together. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Easy, right? So on the last 4 counts, see if you can add your feet. So it'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Add the feet. 5, 6, 7, 8. Got it? All right. One more time. 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 with the feet. 6, 7, 8. Awesome. So that's the first 8. We're going to do another 8 and then we'll try with the music, okay? So you reach your arms up. Our legs are going to go side, so left and right. Again, you can do first left or first right, no matter what. I'm going to do first my left. So we're going to step to the side, couple feet apart. Your feet point out, knees pointing in the same direction of your feet, and you're going to bend into goddess. Your arms stay here for now. Okay, come center, other side, feet pointing out, knees pointing in the same direction. So make sure you're going to do this. You want to keep your booty in, core in and tight. Beautiful, shining goddesses, or gods too. All right, so now arms. Let's add the arms to that. Step, cross the arms. As you do that, as you reach down, your palms are facing down, fingers pointing to each other, and then you step back in together, circle back up. Other side, cross the arms, bind, go down as you bend your knees, and reach back up. All right, so that's another 8. We go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Other side, 5, 6, 7, and let's do everything together and try with music. Palms together in the heart center, and we'll start 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4 with the feet. 6, 7, 8 to the side, and 4 to the other side, and 8. How you go? Okay, let's try with music. All right, play. So let me see if you can hear the music. Hopefully you can. So once it starts, so we're gonna start once the music starts making ping, 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 we'll start moving, right? So 5, 6, 7, and 3 and 4 with the feet. 7, 8 to the side. Other side. How did you go? Let's try that again. 5, 6, 7, and 3 and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8 to the side. And clap. Other side. And clap. All right. Let's keep moving. So once you get all the way here, chair pose. Bend the knees and let your arms swing down. One arm stays forward, the other arm goes up. And we'll do this 2 times slow. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other are gonna go faster. 5, 6, 7, and you stand on 8. So let's try that. We come from here, up, and here, and up, and the chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, standing. Okay, once you do that, simply take a deep breath in, circle the arms up, more calming here yoga, and as you exhale, folding forward. So this is a whole 8 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. We're gonna step into downward dog. You don't need to do that. If you want to, stay here, grooving or whatever. So if you want, you go into downward dog and count. And then we're gonna do 1, 2, right leg, look forward, going down, other leg, and look forward. And in 4 counts, you come back towards the front. And how we come up. We're gonna come up, trying to move our body side to side, so balance it, but at the same time pulling from your belly button and moving to one side, to the other, to the other, to the other until you come standing. So let's repeat all of that part. Excuse me. Okay, so we came from here, and 4 and 8. Chair pose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the way up. 3, 4. All the way down. 7, 8. Downward dog. And stay. And then right leg look forward. 1 and 2. Look forward. 3 and 4. You have 4 counts. 5, 6. Come slowly up. You have time. This is very slow. We breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and we bend our elbows. Once you reach here, you're gonna start to move side to side. But let's try this part with music real quick, and let's see how we go. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having fun. Okay, so let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 and 4 with your feet. 7, 8 to the side and up. Other side and up. Your chair. 1, 3, 4. Faster and go up. Inhale. 3 and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Downward dog. 2, 3 and 4. Right leg look forward and down. Left leg look forward and down. Come back forward. 1, 2, 3, 4 and back up. 1, 2, 3 and all the way up. Inhale. Exhale. Stay here. An extra breath. Inhale. Exhale. And we're gonna move right, left, right, and clap. Right and clap. Right, left, right, and clap. Left, right, left, and clap. Jump back. And jump back. All right. Let's try one last time. Last time. Woo. 5, 6, 7, and 5, 6, 7, and look side and up. Look side and up. And your chair. 1, 2, and faster. Come up. Inhale and down. In your downward dog. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Look forward. Right leg down. Left leg and down. 4 counts. Look forward. 3. And slowly come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Cactus. An extra breath here. Inhale in. Open your mouth. Exhale. And right, left, right, clap, left, right, left. One more time. Right, left, right, clap, left. And jump it. 1, 2, 3. And just have fun. Yay. All right, everyone. Whoop, I'm trying to pause this here. All right, everyone. I hope you had a lot of fun here. Moving your body, getting your energy up, boosting your energy. Again, my name is Mariana Suarez and hope to see you soon. Happy Ayurveda Day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you for this opportunity. Namaste. Thank you.
Excellent, Mariana. Thank you so much for bringing that energy.
You're
Moving
welcome.
the body and getting up, standing up. We have been sitting since last few hours now. So excellent. I can't wait to come to the campus and doing all that with you together in the classroom. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to make some changes in the program schedule. So I would like to go with the next session with Dr. Gita Desai. So I would like to introduce Gita Desai before starting with that session. So Gita Desai is a resident of Los Angeles, has devoted the past 14 years in creating it 3 most comprehensive.
Dr. Anu, your mic muted.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let me repeat that again. So she has created this documentary, which is profound Indian tradition, yoga, raga music, and most recently on Ayurveda. We have that documentary in our library. Some of you might have already watched it. And last year we had a club event showcasing that documentary. It's a really amazing movie. And I only got a chance to see some of the clips actually. Gita's single-minded vision is to bring this powerful ancient science to as many people around the world, keeping their spiritual essence intact. At the core, her ambition to transform the viewers at the deepest level through a fully immersive experience. Nothing less and nothing more. I would like to welcome Gita Desai. And I recently had an opportunity to spend more time with her, and it's so inspired to hear her passion and her commitment. The amount of time she has devoted to create this documentary is really, really amazing. And I don't think, without passion and commitment, a person can come up with the documentary about this traditional, thousands of years old wisdom of science. So really appreciate, and I'm so thankful that she could come today and join us and share her work and her wisdom of knowledge, what she has learned when she go through while creating this documentary to inspire us actually. Thank you so much. Welcome, Gita Desai. Thank you.
Edge of recorded time, when men and gods merged and walked the lands of ancient India, reveals a remarkably mature civilization. Collectively, they strived to examine and uplift human well-being from every angle.
Ayurveda is one of the most ancient and most comprehensive system of healthcare that is known to humanity.
We are talking about Ayurveda as a science of enhancing life. This needs a very comprehensive approach.
So Ayurveda gives the details of how to do this.
Ayurveda takes us from simple things like diet, lifestyle, daily routine, emotional interactions, slowly and very gently to a deeper understanding of the self.
The teaching genius of the sages devised daily routines called dinacharya, one of the single most powerful Ayurvedic tools for maintenance of health and well-being.
So what we feel, what we think, what we live is reflected in our body.
It has such detailed explanations of effects of every single food item imaginable.
These are the common spices used in Ayurvedic cooking. These spices alter the quality of the food.
The food may not be the problem at all, but how we're consuming the food, how we're living while we're eating this food. Actually, the most important thing is how is your digestive fire working? How strong is your Agni?
It doesn't just look at the structure or the chemistry of the physical body, but the internal and holistic unitary life force behind it, which is called prana.
Life force itself has a universal power which sustains the material world. What you exhale, the tree is inhaling. What the tree exhales, you are inhaling. If this alignment happens consciously, this will lead to a phenomenal sense of well-being within you.
India's sages derived a bedrock of insights, upon which Ayurveda and all Indic knowledge systems were built.
Yoga and Ayurveda, they have their origin in the supreme knowledge of the self.
Within the human body, the 5 elements manifest as the Tridosha, or the 3 organizational patterns.
The more self-knowledge we have about how we are put together as cells, that will benefit us substantially.
Health is the dynamic balance between the essence and the waste in the system.
We have to strengthen that equilibrium. Your sleep, diet, the bulk of Ayurveda is wellness.
Our bodies mirror within all that's in the outer world. Nothing is exempt from this total embrace.
In
Ayurveda, the focus is on what is at the root of all of this? Why is this happening?
Some patients of rheumatoid arthritis might get one herbal preparation and some might get another one.
It could also be a touch, a thought, a sound, and it could also be a light.
That's what Vedic medicine is. It's spirit-based.
The Ayurveda is trans-scientific, that it accepts the methods of science but also goes beyond it.
Having validation through measurement and precision with the modern tools that we have, all this will help in creating a better framework for understanding biological correlates in Ayurveda and yoga.
Every time you see a patient or a client, you educate them about themselves.
Empower your patients to be their own doctors.
And so you're generating a lot of counter momentum from all these different ways, and you're doing it much faster and much, much, much safer.
When they start doing what they always wanted to do, the cells began to feel themselves in a place where they were naturally supposed to be.
So that's healing.
It is not about prevention and cure, it's about making the body work at its best.
Pure, unbounded intelligence provides the blueprint for the proper functioning of the whole physiology.
The state of perfect balance, wholeness, harmony. And that is the basis of Ayurveda.
You say yes to life, you say yes to things that are supportive of you. And there is inner intelligence within you that is universal that will show you what is right for you.
Which is the wisdom which resides within each one of us. This is something that should not be forgotten.
And so it is with Ayurveda. Harmony within and without.
Thank you, Anuji, and your whole team for having me as part of this wonderful Ayurveda Day celebration. And I wish everybody the best for the coming year, and also wishing everybody a very happy Diwali. And I hope you enjoyed the trailer. A lot of you might have already watched the film, but it's a pleasure. And it is Diwali. It's coincidentally also Ayurveda Day. So, you know, there's so many parallels that I was just thinking. Diwali is supposed to be a festival of light. Symbolically, it's victory over, you know, the good over the evil, or knowledge over true ignorance. And Ayurveda lights the flame within. In each of our cell, there's Diwali every day, the awareness and the intelligence that it awakens. So it's almost so parallel, you know, the two. So it kind of amused me. I was thinking about it while watching listening to everybody and watching the trailer. So thank you. And Dr. Anu, maybe you have some questions that I can answer, or anybody else as well. I'm happy to. I'm not a scholar, nor a Vaidya, not a Ayurvedic expert, but a passionate lover. And I have so much conviction in the traditions that they work. So that's what brings me here, and that's what made me make the film, and the rest of the films as well, you know, in their power of transforming, healing, and keeping us so fit. So if I could add to anything, I would be happy to. And I'm also offering my help in the future for your wonderful academy. It's just very, very impressive. And I must confess that I knew very little about this whole effort that Dr. Anu has created, along with the faculty and the president, etc. Although I live in Encino, in Los Angeles, I did not know much about it, but through the film and through meeting Mila and the rest of you, it's very evident. So I would be very happy to be part of your journey. If there's anything I can do for you, I will be happy to offer my time and my help. So with that, I will leave Dr. Anu or anybody else to ask questions, and I will try my best to throw some light.
Hi, Geetha. I had the pleasure and opportunity to watch your documentary. It was very, very engaging and very well prepared. My question is, what was your vision behind making Ayurveda Unveiled, and how long did it take you to make it?
Okay. So this is my third attempt at filmmaking. I'm not a documentary filmmaker by training, but back in 2004, I gave it a try, and I made the first documentary, which is called Yoga Unveiled. After that, the Raga Unveiled film followed, and it was very natural that if I put some light on the tradition of yoga, then I had to cover Ayurveda. They're sister sciences, they're inseparable, they spring from the entire same bedrock, and one cannot be without the other. As we heard over the evening, Dr. Frawley, I think, threw light on it, Dr. Svoboda. So I had to present something very similar on Ayurveda. It took me 5 years to make. And the full-length film, as you probably remember, is almost 5 hours long. So it was 1 hour per year, if you may. So, and it took me all over India, it took me all over Europe, all over America, many trips to India, actually, within, north, south, east, west. So wherever there were experts and people that could offer any information, and nature is very much part of the film. I wanted to keep the principle of the 5 elements, the Panchamahabhuta, very, very alive, because we all tend to forget connection between the microcosm and macrocosm. Although we read about it, we hear it all the time, but to really understand that you and the leaf in the tree are the same, basically, the same elements. So it took me into the countryside, into the farms where the herbs are grown, the spices. I wanted to show the context, the Indic context from which Ayurveda and yoga spring. It's not a separate science or a separate subject, it's a life, right? As the name itself implies, it's a knowledge of life. So, and a lot of people in the West who are studying, who are very sincerely interested in Ayurveda, would not be able to go to India. I would say majority of them won't be able to go to India, just as a statistic. So I was very interested in bringing alive the life of India, whether it was in the villages or in the past or historic or present day. So it's almost like a travel log, which ties in the knowledge of Ayurveda as well. So these were my objectives, to really keep the spirit of Ayurveda and the essence, the spiritual essence, life, demystify a lot of things which make people think that these are very complex. They are complex, there's no question about it. It takes a lifetime to learn how to heal and treat, but at the same time they were also part of the folk knowledge. My grandmother, my mother, everybody use the principles of Ayurveda, but they never labeled it in this or that. So that was the genius of the sages, that they also disseminated this basic foundational knowledge of how to live moment to moment into the households. And it's still alive. It's fast, exiting because of the advent of internet and habits. Indians are becoming extremely westernized, but then the COVID, as we heard, is bringing the resurgence of Ayurveda, which is wonderful in the daily lives and prevention, etc. But does that kind of answer your question as to why I made the film? Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think we do have one more question from Angela.
Yes, hi Geetha. Thank you so much. I as well watched the video, and again, I watched it recently, so twice now. And I get something out of it each time.
Yes.
And in my own journey of Ayurveda, I have a lot of revelations that come up. I would like to know for you, as one who's not currently a practitioner or Ayurveda wellness educator, what was your greatest revelation for you as you went through the process of making this movie?
The humility of all the speakers, and I mean, as much as they are very, very learned and powerful and very busy people, but every one of them gave me such wonderful insights, time, knowledge. A lot of them were so hospitable when we went to film in their homes. It was truly very, very touching. But as regards to Ayurveda, you know, through the research, I learned a lot about the subject, but I didn't know the depth of it. I knew the profoundness that it works, the conviction. But as I went through this whole process, it was so evident that the genius of Ayurveda lies in its simplicity, in its common sense, first and foremost. If we live with the rhythms of nature, a lot of the problems are solved. They will not happen as far as ill health and ill mental health, emotional health, bodily health. So that was amazing that the sages, the Rishi Munis, the keepers or the inventors of Ayurveda, how they really designed it so brilliantly. That simple measures, profound effects. And how beautiful, you don't need a penny for them. You wake up with the sun is everywhere in the world, whether it's America or India or wherever. You wake up with the sun, you eat at a certain time, you sit quiet, you have quietude, you oil, all these simple measures, you cook fresh food. There's no complexity, and yet they take you so far in terms of being joyful and healthful and vibrant, so we can live fully to our fullest potential. Dr. Anu is a good example. She's always smiling and so helpful. I bet you her daily routines are so, she pays attention to these little things that they become part of life, you know, as you brush or floss or take a bath, they're no different. And then it's not an effort. So that was a great revelation, and it gave me a lot of comfort that there's so much hope, because not everybody can do complex things all the time, especially in the busy lives that we have. But yeah.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. I agree how it's such a simple idea, or simple, it's so simple, but yet we make our lives so complex, and just to know that something so simple can make our life so much better. So I appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have last question, Geetha ji. I know a lot, and it's really amazing to see the clip what you showed now. The people, some of these people are our advisors and faculty. So it's really made us so proud in our team. So it's a perfect clip you shared. So thank you. Yeah. And so, I know in last conversation with you, were mentioning that, you know, every day should be an Ayurveda day, not just once a day, one day in a year. Could you please share your thoughts on that?
Yes, definitely, because, you know, this putting a label of a day is a very Western approach to, you know, Mother's Day and Father's Day and Ayurveda Day and Yoga Day, which is great, you know, it throws some attention on the subject matter or a person, which is fine. But with Ayurveda or yoga, it doesn't apply. It is every moment should be an Ayurveda day. Why a day? Every moment that we live should be an Ayurveda day, in the sense, the awareness, you know, how you sit, how you breathe, what you eat, when you eat. You know, the self-awareness, Dr. Frawley was beautifully explaining that this evening earlier. But so I feel like we should celebrate every minute of our life and call it an Ayurveda minute or an Ayurveda moment. So from that perspective, I was mentioning that, you know. So nothing much, but it's always great to have celebrations because it reminds us, it gives so much focus, and you brought all these wonderful people together to speak towards, you know, very important information that the students should listen to. So yeah, that was the short thought that I had on it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your own experience. You know, that's more inspiring for our students and our community. You know, whole purpose of this event also bringing all these great speakers, like to inspire us and to learn from, and how we can bring the changes in our day-to-day life, and what we can do offer to our community as a practitioner or as a wellness counselor. You know, sometimes we forget to appreciate what we have. We kind of looking into what we don't have and worry about things more. But I always feel like Ayurveda medicine is kind of a user's manual. It has all the information. Ayurvedic medicine has all the information which can be laid into a manual for a life manual. You know, Ayurveda is a science of life. You know, so we have to use, you know, it's an individualized user's manual. So it gives us the knowledge or wisdom to understand what exactly our unique fingerprint and what we need to utilize it.
Yeah.
And that is the wisdom we get in Ayurvedic knowledge or Ayurvedic medicine. And the videos like this, you know, for a beginner sandal, it's really, really inspirational. And I'm sure it's going to bring big impact on our community to more people to know about this.
Yeah. Specifically, Dr. Anu, I made these films like textbooks. All 3 films have chapters and maps and graphics because I wanted students, I wanted the keepers of Ayurveda and keepers of yoga, the future keepers, to walk out of their academies or training very inspired and very, what shall I say, knowing and smelling and feeling the spirit of every herb, every food, every oil, you know, really keeping that alive when they go out to heal or teach or whatever they do. So they're very useful in that sense. And it's a great overview from start to finish. It gives you the ABCD, the whole overview of Ayurveda, the journey of Ayurveda. So sincerely hope everybody takes advantage of it and shares it, definitely. But thank you again, and I'm here to offer any help anybody needs. When you watch the film, you have questions, please feel free to email me. I'll be happy to answer anything as well. So thank you and happy Diwali, Happy New Year, and wishing everybody the best for the coming year.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Geetha. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for the preview. It has piqued so much interest in the film. I can see in the chat, like everybody wants to watch it now. So it's just so exciting. Again, thank you and happy Diwali.
Same to you. Thank you. Thanks.
Now, who's ready for another raffle? Rachel, you're up.
I did it again. I was muted. Hi, everyone. So this is my little tambourine to kind of wake everyone up. So we did have one of our raffles moved. So we'll actually be having 4 winners for this raffle right here. And I do want everyone to know that we are so grateful for everyone that has stayed this long and is participating. You did not need to spend your Friday night with us. It was something that you chose to do. And I believe that it's been a very inspiring and blessed night for all of us. So that being said, I will get into the raffle. And again, for the first giveaway, it's going to be a $100 gift card to Amazon. So we will go through the same process. I'm going to ask Siri, and I hope she is as cooperative with me as she was before. And then we will call out the names and the numbers. And there is a little less people now, so your chances of winning are higher. So let's see. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191. A random
number between 1 and 191 is 173.
Did you?
I love it.
I know. So 173 was the number. Is that anyone's number off the top of their head if they have their email? So looking at my
Yes, that's me, Trudy.
Trudy? All right.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. You
Thank
have won $100 to Amazon, which means you can probably buy anything you want.
Literally. So cool. Thank you so much.
Anything, absolutely. Again, thank you for being here and staying and participating. You know, it means the world to us. It really does.
No problem. Thank you guys.
Yes, we'll make sure to get in contact with you and we'll keep that down. So the next one is, again, Banyan Botanicals was so gracious in giving us items to give away. So this bundle is going to be for immune support. And again, we will put you in contact with them and they'll send you your bundle. So let's see how she does. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 144.
144, if anyone didn't hear her. So do you, is that anyone's number off the top of their head? So Mamta?
Yes.
I
never win anything.
Today you have on Ayurveda Day as well.
Yes. Yes.
Siri, she does like above 100. I know. Congratulations. So again, we will get your information. Well, we have it technically, and we'll get in contact with you and you will get your free bundle. So of course, I'm so happy you won. So again, we have 2 more winners for this raffle. And remember everyone, after this raffle, we still have our grand prize raffle. So don't leave.
That is the biggest one.
Still have our grand prize raffle coming. So everyone who has stayed is very lucky. So next, for the third one, we are giving away a $100 gift card to DoorDash. So this was an idea we had. We figured everyone in quarantine needs to have some food delivered to them. So we're gonna go and see what she says. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 159.
I wish I could control her going over 100, but that's where she seems to be going. Let's see, 159. Is that anyone's number? So Barbara Guerrero.
Hey.
Are you here?
I think she's here.
Is Barbara here?
Yeah. I can see she's waving her hand.
Yes, I see her. Yay. Okay. Well, congratulations. You're going to eat all of that food for us. Please. I really wanted the DoorDash. I love food. So.
Barbara, let us know when you are ordering the food. We will come over there.
All righty. So for the next. Oh, hold on. Sorry. So for the next one, I wanted to try, I think if we were to ask for different numbers, because everyone, if I try to ask for a smaller set of numbers, it might cut off individuals that are actually here. Since our numbers are a little random, that's the only thing. So we're still going to ask, and let's maybe put some energy out there that she will go below 100 this time.
Okay.
So this last giveaway is for another bundle to Banyan Botanicals. And let's see what she says. Hey Siri. She won't respond this time. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 191.
A random number between 1 and 191 is 183.
And actually, I think that was already Caitlin's number. So we're going to try.
So somebody wrote some comment.
Ask backwards. Okay. So we're going to try again because we already had a winner with that number. So we will go again. So we want to ask her backwards. So from 191 to 1, I'll try it. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 191 and 1.
A random number between 191 and 1 is 14.
Hey, that was a good idea. So is number 14 here? That'd be Suzanne. Is she here with us? Let's give a couple seconds.
What's the last name?
Suzanne. What's the last name?
Treshka?
Yeah, she's
That's
here.
me.
Hey.
I'm here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you have won a bundle from Banyan, and we will put you in contact with them after the event, and then you will get your free bundle. So
Yay, thank you.
for the next one, now I know apparently that's a little hack with Siri. And if you ask backwards, she goes smaller. I love it. So I hope that was a little adrenaline rush for everyone. And again, we're super thankful to have you all. So we will now move to our next event, which is Shannon leading a sound bath for us. So it'll be a nice way to start bringing our energy down and relaxing. And here she is.
Thank you, Rachel. Namaste, everyone, and happy Ayurveda Day. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. My name is Shannon McIntyre, and I am part of the summer term leadership at the SCU Ayurveda Club. And I am so excited and grateful to share with you a relaxing and soothing sound bath meditation. So during a sound bath, various sacred instruments are used, and they all vibrate at different frequencies. And these frequencies interact with us on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And they also activate our alpha and theta brainwaves. So that's what puts us in a really nice, deep, relaxed, meditative state. And according to Ayurveda, meditation is an integral part of our overall health. Thanks, everyone. So let's take a moment here to plug in your headphones and get comfortable, whether that's sitting or laying down. And just know that you can adjust the volume to be louder or quieter. It may be different for everyone. Let's see. Oh, can you stop sharing your screen, Mila? I think. Thank you. Perfect. So once you're comfortable, gently soften or close your eyes. And begin to tune into your breath as you allow these sound waves to wash over you. Gently begin to bring your breath, your presence, and your awareness back into your body, back into the space. Start to make small, gentle movements. Thank you all for allowing me to hold space for you this evening. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Shannon. Just really beautiful, more calming and relaxing.
Thank you.
Nice way of ending the day almost.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So for the next, before we conclusion, Anita, I would like to invite Anita on the podium.
I'm here.
Yes, maybe you can share your thoughts.
Here I come.
Thank you.
So I wanted to personally thank everyone who helped put this together for one, but there's one individual in particular I really wanted to reach out and thank. Without this individual, we would not have had tonight. They have put in effortless hours around the clock, running around, helping with flyers, organizing, and just really keeping everyone going and together. And I would like to thank Mila tonight for helping really rein everyone in and bringing everyone together as a group and to help us put this on for everyone who was able to come in tonight. Mila, without you, this would not have been possible. And we all thank you because even though we don't always get a chance to say it, hang on. There it goes. And although we don't always get a chance to say it, and although we don't always get a chance to praise you for it, without you, a lot of these accomplishments between the club, the website, everything you do for us is very much overlooked. And I would just like to take a minute to thank you from everyone that is here.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. And I really wanted to congratulate all the club team and leadership of Mila, club president. As Anita mentioned, she has created a separate website. She went over and beyond, creating the website and putting the stuff together, and everyone, Raj and Parija and Angela, Shannon, Anita, hope I'm not missing anybody's name here, just from my memories. But thank you so much. Really, really appreciate. We have been working on this, since few months now on Sunday meeting, and it really came out good. So thank you very much. So for the conclusion and grand prize, I would like to invite Mila back on the stage.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much, Anita, and the entire Ayurveda Club has put in so much work, and including people who are not on the club leadership. Everyone has put in so much work. Raj, Raj is on the club leadership, Shannon, Rachel. I would like to give a very special thank you to Mary Lett. Mary Lett has put together the flyers and the yoga dance led by Mariana, Rachel, and Anita, Angela. Of course, Dr. Anu, who led and put together this entire thing. I would like to definitely thank all the speakers and all of our very special guests. Mamtaji from CAM, California Ayurvedic Association of Medicine, was here throughout the entire duration. Thank you so much to everybody who's a part of the club and a part of the program, and to our extended family. We love you guys, and happy Ayurveda Day, happy Diwali, and thank you for sharing lightness over darkness with us. Without further ado, I would like to go ahead and do the grand giveaway. I would like, Rachel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, Rachel, will you do the honors of calling on Siri?
Yes, I'll ask her. Okay, everyone. So just so you know, we do have one bundle left from Banyan Botanicals to give away, and then our grand prize. And our grand prize is something that everyone is really excited for. So I'm really happy that everyone stayed. And let me get theory going. So my phone is dying. So first, so yes, we do have one left for Banyan Botanical. So I'll announce one winner for that. And then the second one, this grand prize winner, you're winning both the $200 Exotic India gift card and $100 to Threya Herbs. So they also donated to us. So this grand prize is definitely incredibly grand. So the first one that I'm doing right now is the Banyan Botanicals bundle, just so there's clarification. And we will do it backwards, since apparently she did pick numbers that were smaller when we did it like that. Hey Siri, pick a number between 191 and 1.
A random number between 191 and 1 is 149.
Not this time. Is that anyone's number? Let me pull up mine. Let's see. Is Dr. Mark here with us, or is he gone? Dun, dun, dun.
I don't see. He left, I think.
Okay. Oh, well, then we get to call another person. So let's see how this goes. Hey, Siri. Pick a number. So would anyone be against me trying to pick smaller numbers? But is there, so before I ask, is there anyone here that has a number above 60?
I do.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
I do too.
Okay, so I need to make sure. So we do have to make sure that we call the numbers so we don't cut anything out.
Yes.
Don't worry. Don't worry, we won't change it. All right. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 191 and 1.
A random number between 191 and 1 is 125.
125 was the number. Is Autumn here with us?
No.
All righty. See, so we have another chance. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 191 and 1.
A random number between 191 and 1 is 85.
What is that?
That's me.
Very late. Oh. I just happened to have it on your screen when I saw your reaction too. I love that. Congratulations. That will be for a bundle for Banyan Botanicals. So again, we will get you in contact with them and they'll ship it to you. So, oh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah. Okay, so everyone, here we go. Here's the grand prize. So this is going to one person. So let's find out what Siri says. Hey Siri, pick a number between 191 and 1.
A random number between 191 and 1 is 161.
That's me.
Who?
Kizzy. Ah, wrong way. Right here.
Who is it?
Kizzy, 161.
Yes.
Congrats.
Well, congratulations. You are our grand prize winner.
Can we see your face?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Huh.
I'm waving.
I'm
right here waving.
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations to everyone who won on the raffle. I hope that it was a little bit, I think raffles are always fun. They always keep us engaged and intrigued. But beyond that, I do want to say thank you to everyone, even though Mila already did. I really, really, really hope that this was an evening that everyone enjoyed and everyone got some inspiration from. And we're all very blessed and lucky to come together as a community and as a collective on this Ayurveda Day. And so I just want to extend my gratitude for myself, from everyone at SCU, from all of the club members. We were all really, 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 really happy to have you all here. So namaste, everyone. I will let everyone get to their night. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everyone who sponsored the giveaway, our ASB. Mila, again, for doing all the work, not all of it, but for clearly leading all of us in this event. She puts in so much effort and so much heart and spirit into everything, like all of you do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone, and happy Diwali to everyone. So maybe if the club people can stay back for a few minutes, once everybody leaves, that'll be great. But good night, Shubhratri, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Yes.
Namaste.
Again, to Angela Romero, Parisha Patel, Shannon McIntyre, Raj Kshatriya, I hope I said that correctly, Rachel Kanakaole, Marilette Rustia, Mariana Suarez, Chanel Miller, Anita Burns. Thank you all very, very, very much. And we have included a special bonus and write-up on Ayurveda Day and Diwali, brought to you by Raj and Chanel. Raj did the history of Diwali festival. This is all included in your emails. And Shannon did the history of Ayurveda Day. So please check that out. Again, it is in your email. It is also posted to the external club website, which was listed below. It is ayurveda/club/SCUHS.com. And this concludes our SCU Ayurveda Day Fest.
Good job. Namaste. Thank you.